welcome back to Serie A Spotlight. We're your hosts Jake
and Matt.
You know what time it is?
Jake and I will have a very special soft spot for Salernitana.
We love now.
This might be bad.
But your group has really some characters in it, no?
Ora naħseb.
Hello and welcome back to yet another episode of Serie A Spotlight. This is episode 209 and we're your hosts Jake
and Matt,
here to run you through all the action of Matchday 25 in Serie A.
Oh, and what a match day it was, as always. But this time, actually, it was a bit more exciting than usual. Of course, we had two huge derbies. There was the Derby d'Italia, highly controversial Derby d'Italia that we're going to spend a long period of time talking about and discussing, Of course, the controversial 41st minute red card by Pierre Kalulu that obviously decided the outcome of the game, really.
Second yellow, right? That's, I'm sure everyone listening has seen and heard, and they're probably tired of the discussion. We'll be getting into the football side of things as well, of course.
Absolutely.
The decision,
We also had the Derby del Sole, a very entertaining Derby del Sole, of course, between Napoli and Roma at the Maradona, where Roma were actually ahead twice over here. Very entertaining stuff. There was Milan's first victory against a newly promoted side of the season. Let's give some snaps for Milan, guys. Come on, boys. Then we had Lazio, Atalanta. We had Como, Fiorentina. We had a bunch of relegation six-pointers as well.
Endless array of relegation six-pointers.
And guess whose girlfriend was abroad? So we watched like 8 out of 10 games. This guy.
Oh yeah.
This guy.
Oh yes.
Not celebrating. It was lonely, but. Turns out I do quite well by myself. Of course, as always, guys, make sure to stay till the end of the podcast for our patron segments. We have a voice note from the very annoying Daniel, an Inter fan who will be giving us his side of the story. Unfortunately, we didn't manage to find any Juve fans that actually wanted to talk about the Derby d'Italia. Of course, Daniel's very happy to speak about it, so stay till the end if you want to hear Daniel's opinions on that. We'll also have our Fantasy League update and an update regarding our prediction series, which Jake has won. So the score is 6-4.
You know who the man is. But anyway, the man actually is Adriano, our newest patron. Welcome to the family, Adriano.
Yes.
We haven't heard from you, and we haven't heard from Nate either, who has recently become a patron. So please do reach out, and we will add you to the group chat.
We haven't heard from Nate. We're about to hear from Nate right now. Nate, give us a scream. Fuck yes, Nate. Yes. That's a new one. And everyone liked it. We haven't gotten feedback yet, but everyone liked it.
I can tell you from the get-go, everyone liked it.
Absolutely.
As for goals of the week this week, bro. We had a few choices.
We had some very nice goals.
Of course, Zalewski's goal against Lazio was lovely. It was a well-placed curler from outside the box. Zielinski against Juventus had a lovely bit of skill to tee himself up and finish from a distance. And it was actually the winner in the Derby d'Italia.
Yeah.
There was Loriente's goal against Udinese, which saw a really nice flick on by Pinamonti in the build-up play. And then Bernabe's cracker against Hellas Verona, which was also a splendid strike.
Yes.
Which one was it for you, brother? For me, since it's on the screen. I will tell you, it was Zielinski's goal against Juve. That was a lovely bit of skill to tee the ball up perfectly. I love how the ball stood into place, and he just had to hit it in a traditional Zielinski style.
So was the reason that goal was better than, say, for example, Bernabe's goal, for example, because Bernabe's goal was a cracker. Was it the stage that made the goal for you?
The stage and the fact that he teed the ball up for himself and removed the man in doing so. You know, like he did that bit of skill. I can't even describe it, what he did, man. It was like a
it was a simple control. It was a simple control, but
he spun. He
like that cross control. You know, you remember cross. He'd control the ball and always send a player the wrong way, just by positioning himself away from the direction he's actually going. It was very misleading. As for my goal of the week, I couldn't not go for Lauriente's goal. I couldn't even remember it was Lauriente's goal, because for me this goal is all about Pinamonti. Firstly, it's actually all about Garcia on the left, who really changed the game when he came on, offering width, offering pace, really got that ball into the box well. Pinamonti arrived really early into the box. He had Lauriente coming in behind him, and that skill, man, to backheel the ball and put it on a plate for Lauriente, came running in, clean finish. brilliant fucking goal by Sassuolo. That is straight out of the training ground. That is a grosso masterclass, and a masterclass by all three players involved, really.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, man, Sassuolo have a nice little team going on over there. And they're still very capable of playing entertaining football, of course. We're used to seeing this from Sassuolo, right?
Absolutely.
We remember Sassuolo with De Zerbi, right?
Yeah. Well, before we start things off, little Coppa Italia update for you, because we had midweek Coppa Italia, very entertaining. We had 2 penalty shootouts. Of course, penalty shootouts after 90 minutes of play. There's no extra time at this stage. In the quarterfinals of the Coppa Italia. So Como beat Napoli on penalties, even though Vanja Milinkovic-Savic, bro, gave, just a classic Vanja Milinkovic-Savic penalty. It took some help because he whacked it into the crossbar. It essentially hit the keeper's face and went in. It was like, when you're in Form 1 and you're playing against the Form 5s and the way they're shooting against you, that's what it feels like,
It
man.
was like Looney Tunes when they played against the Monsters. Vanja takes penalties violently.
Vanja takes
so
penalties
hard,
like the keeper fucked his wife.
Yes, literally. And he would, the time he has to take a penalty is always after having failed to save many, right? Usually, because it gets quite late into the shootout when Vanja has to step up. And even though this time I was quite surprised he went up so early.
Yeah.
He would be pissed off because he wouldn't have saved any.
Yeah.
And he vents that furiosity
Or
by just
gassed
kicking.
because he saved one.
Perhaps, yes, but he always looks like he's fuming, like he'd be absolutely pissed off. But it was actually Boutte who won them the shootout, and what a fantastic display from him.
Yes, a great display by Boutte and a great display by Provedel, who won Lazio the game against Bologna, also on penalties. He was fantastic.
The tricks in the book, bro.
All of them. All the standing behind the goal line, and then the referee told him to stop. I don't get it. Is that in the rule book? Can you not stand behind it? I thought you make it easier for the striker by increasing the distance between the goalkeeper and the ball.
I thought you couldn't step over your line. I thought it was perfectly fine to stand behind it. But I thought it was really interesting, and it threw off. I think it was Ferguson who took the first one. It threw him off completely.
Loads.
Yeah.
You know what advantage it does give the keeper? Because the keeper always needs to have, I believe, one leg on the line. If they pounce forward, they need to have one leg on the line. I think this allows him to pounce forward more.
And that's what it did.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But still obviously maintain the leg on the line.
Yes, and then he was doing them all. After getting told off by the referee twice to do it, he was jumping up and whacking the crossbar, making a jiggle. He won them that shootout through his tricks.
Absolutely. Making it a jiggle is what it's all about at the end of the day. Guys, let's start with the Derby d'Italia. Let's jump straight into the Derby d'Italia. So I'm going to go through the game as though there isn't a massive elephant in the room. Okay,
Yes.
We're just going to go through the game. This is exactly what happened in the talking points, of course. We'll discuss our opinions on the situation, but we won't take too much time on it. So Inter 3, Juve 2 in the Derby d'Italia. So Inter came into this match on a 5-game winning streak and a 12-match unbeaten streak. Barella and Hakan were also back for this game, but they were still missing Dumfries. Hakan. Juve were coming off a 2-2 comeback against Lazio, where they were 2 goals down actually, and a less flattering 3-match unbeaten run. They were missing Kefren Thuram, which is obviously a huge loss for them, even due to the Thuram derby, etc. Vlahovic and Milik, of course, still out injured. The previous encounter between these two sides was that phenomenal 4-3 game with the Adzic last-minute winner for Juve. Of course, for Kivu's side, it was a 3-5-2 formation with Jan Sommer in goal, a backline of Bastoni, Akanji and Bissek, Di Marco on the left, Luis Enrique on the right, and a midfield three of Sucic, Zielinski and Barella. Thuram and Lautaro started up front together. For Juve, it was a 4-3-3 with Di Gregorio in goal, a backline of Kalulu, Bremer, Kelly and Cambiaso. McKennie, Locatelli and Miretti started in midfield with Conceição and Yildiz flanking Jonathan David. So before the game started, DeMarco was handed the Player of the Month award, which he thoroughly deserves.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm no mathematician, but his numbers absolutely destroyed everyone else's, even the strikers. In the 17th minute, Inter took the lead. And how did they take the lead? It was through the combination of those two Juve players that have been struggling recently. It was a ball by Luis Enrique that deflected it was exactly a ball by Luis Henrique that deflected off of Cambiaso and caught Di Gregorio completely wrong-footed, and it went into the near post. I can't stress how wrong-footed Di Gregorio was, and he should have absolutely done better over there. In the 26th minute, Juve equalised. It was Cambiaso who redeemed himself for the own goal as he snuck in a tap-in at the far post as Bissek and Henrique were caught in a deep sleep. It looked like Bissek, I don't know why he decided to let the ball run. Like, he was in the middle of his own box. You can't let the ball run over there.
He expected Akanji to win the duel.
So Bissek expected Akanji to win the duel, but he stepped away from the ball, expecting, and then Luis Henrique to get the ball, who was expecting Bissek or Akanji to get to the ball. So
I think there were, maybe it's a bit harsh, but 3 mistakes there.
I think 2 clear ones.
Yeah.
I think it was predominantly Bissek's mistake for not dealing with it. How do you step away from that ball? And then Luis Henrique, confused, just went to stick a leg out, and of course it was very opportunistic by Cambiaso, who went and snuck it at the far post. Inter had a chance in the 30th minute as Zielinski's back heel flick was saved off the line by Bremer. And then the 41st minute, Inter nearly retook the lead as Bastoni's shot hit both posts. It was absolutely mental. It hit the left post and then the right post, and
So chaotic, that.
Exactly. And then, just moments later, in the 42nd minute, the controversial red card took place. It was a second yellow for Kalulu, given by referee La Penna. He was shown a second yellow after a clear Bastoni dive. Essentially, there's also an argument to be made that both yellow cards were incredibly harsh, and both of them were dives, one by Barella and one by Bastoni. Behaviors we've seen from both players. We'll get into that later on. Before I get back to this episode, a special shout out goes to our media partners, Benevo Bid. Woo! Check out our link in bio to bid on autographed items from top players, including match-issued kits. And if you question the authenticity, I invite you to check out their Instagram, where you could actually see the players signing off.
And the best part, most of the proceeds go to charity, and it is the vast majority of proceeds that actually do go to charity. So click our link in our bio to help make a difference and to upgrade your collection.
Not to point, fingers at the players. VAR is there to help the referee, and in this case it totally failed to do so because the rules of VAR are completely flawed. But this inevitably should have sealed the game for Inter immediately, but from this moment on, I thought Juve were fantastic. I thought they did so well to stay in the game as the game went on. However, in the 66th minute, Pio Esposito entered the pitch for Inter, and just 10 minutes into the game, he scored a header from Di Marco cross, and fuck me, he's so good, such a good header. That combination of Di Marco to Pio Esposito just makes me dream of the Italian World Cup in the summer, right? But what a header! That's his biggest goal yet, and he's just a powerhouse, man.
Just a point on Pio very quickly. The reason why Pio Esposito, I think, isn't starting for Inter right now is simply not to upset the regulars.
Fiery Thuram.
The fact that he's a youth player almost makes it excusable to give him less playing time, right?
Right.
And even Bonnie, he's not expecting. He joined not expecting to start, of course.
Exactly.
Because if you had to give, if it had to be merited, that's the second spot alongside Lautaro, I think it would be Pio or Thuram. Or Bonnie, who would get it over Thuram right now.
I think, and there's a conversation for another day, but I think Inter cash in on Thuram, make some good money, and they literally don't need to sign another starter because they've got two very capable
the right
dudes.
wing back position, for example.
Exactly. Let's get on with this. So, like I said, Pio equalized in 76th, and then the 83rd, just a few moments later, it was Locatelli who equalized for Juve. And he did so brilliantly. It was a first-time finish from the edge of the area after a McKennie cutback. Celebrations were mental. It looked like Juve sealed the deal and got their draw over here. There was an Inter chance later on as well, as Di Gregorio saved a Bissek header off the line. It was a brilliant save by Di Gregorio, to be fair. But then in the 91st minute, Zielinski received the ball on the edge of the area, deleted his man immediately, and just fired the ball into the back of the net from distance, with Di Gregorio completely rooted to the spot. I would say the strike was quite central, personally. I think you expect your goalkeeper to do better over there. His visibility was a bit fucked because it went through the legs of Locatelli.
That's it, and it's not like this is a one-off at the moment. This is something we've come to expect of Di Gregorio lately, and his ability as a goalkeeper shouldn't be up for debate because he is obviously a very good keeper, and we saw this game too. 2 incredible saves from very close distance on the line, where he was cat-like, you know?
Yes.
But I just think at this point that maybe the pressure might be too much for him because I don't see a calm goalkeeper in between those sticks. I feel that Di Gregorio has looked really nervous lately. And I've said this before on the pod, and every week he looks the same.
It is not solely skill set that makes you capable to play for the top 3 teams in Serie A.
Yeah.
It's also personality and confidence, etc. And the lack of personality and confidence that he shows on the biggest stage, unfortunately, doesn't make me think he is worthy of playing for a top 3 team at this stage. I think he's more at like the Fiorentina Como level at this point in his career, which, to be honest, he did jump. He jumped from Monza to Juve.
Exactly.
That's a fucking phenomenal jump. You know what I mean? Yes. And sometimes you need to be knocked back down before you can move back up. Exactly. But that's his story, right? Let's jump straight.
28 years old, of course. Keep that in mind as
well. How old?
28. He's not
young.
He's
boy. He's young
for a keeper. Yes,
I'm 28.
He still has time.
Mm-hmm. So let's discuss the red card immediately.
Okay.
A dive by Bastoni.
Clear dive.
A clear dive. Yes. There was the only contact that was made was from the hand of Kalulu.
Yes. A brush.
Not enough to bring a man down. No,
especially not a unit like Bastoni
at all. So a dive. It's not like the contact was minimal, warrants the player going down. Not a dive, but not a yellow card.
Mm-hmm. It's bro.
For me, it's a dive, right?
It's
I'm
a
just
dive.
Gonna be clear.
Yes, for sure. It's totally a dive. The question here is, the referee had a choice to make. That was a counter attack, right? They were on the counter. If that is clearly a foul in the referee's vision, he blew the whistle immediately. If that is a dive, that's a second yellow for Bastoni.
In fact, I wanted to ask you, had VAR been capable of intervening, because we all know what the rule is, if VAR could intervene in that scenario, the referee goes to the screen, sees 2 players on a yellow card, sees one committing a foul and the other committing a dive. It's up for debate, or it's not up for debate. There's a dive and there's a no foul.
Yes.
The referee looks at that. With VAR, does he cancel the yellow card from Kalulu, give it to Bastoni and send off Bastoni? Do you think that would have been the case?
If VAR could have a look, that's exactly what would have happened. But I think I'm of the opinion that if VAR could overturn double yellows, Bastoni would have never dived there. He would have never done it. He did it because he was operating within the rule book. He was smart. He knew that if the referee gave him a yellow card, if he got away with the dive, there was no going back. He knew. He's extremely intelligent and experienced.
He's extremely intelligent and experienced. He's also very risky.
He is
very,
it's
very
a
risky,
risk, bro. But it was. He knew exactly like where the referee was. He felt the touch. He fell. He got up confidently, waving his arm, demanding a yellow card, which I'm pretty sure might also. Okay, I think it might also be a yellow card offense. I'm not so sure about that, to be honest. But I think the rule needs to change. Personally, I think it's ridiculous, man. I
think we've been saying that the rule had to change for as long as we've had a podcast.
And for those who argue, but then you'll have to review every single yellow card. No, you don't. Fuck it. You don't. Why? Because a yellow card will change a player's game, sure. But it's not going to put you down, man, you know?
Yeah, I mean, second yellows for sure, because it leads to a red. Let's not play stupid here. It leads to a red card.
Yes.
So a direct red card you can check, but a second yellow you can't check. It's bullshit. I'm trying to think of an analogy to compare it to, but it's so ridiculous.
And this whole thing has been blown out of proportion with Bastoni, man, and everyone's. I don't know if you have a structure, but that we should follow, bro, because I can just spitball over here.
Let's what I was going to just say over here. Then you could say your piece. So what I want to say is. So the referee's been getting death threats. He's been banned for a month.
La Penna, right?
La Penna, yes. And let's be honest. the referee made a mistake over here, a significant mistake that decided the outcome of the game, arguably. But I want to give the benefit of the doubt to the referee, because referees make mistakes every single match. That's why VAR has been introduced, and VAR has done a great job at eradicating human error for the most part, or at least not eradicating, but, minimizing human error. Now, because referees are human, the game is very quick, a lot happens, the referee doesn't always have a perfect view, and it's on one guy with two linesmen who also don't have a perfect view to make a decision. VAR is there to be the shoulder of the referee, to help the referee, so no matter what, you have something to review. VAR, the rule related to VAR is the problem here. I won't even point at La Penna and say, that guy's a fucking idiot.
No,
it's what he saw. When I saw it happen, I'm like, holy fuck, that's a yellow card for Kalulu because he stopped a clear counter-attack.
Yeah.
That VAR has let La Penna down over there.
It has, definitely. Now, La Penna made a mistake. Obviously, referees make mistakes every single week, right?
He'd be devastated, bro.
Apparently, he was mortified to hear.
Obviously, of
no
course,
shit,
man.
right? Can you imagine? This is your passion. This is your
craft, man.
Your craft.
Exactly. Everyone's seeing you made a mistake. Millions of people.
Terrible. But he didn't have the backing of the system. The system failed him.
Exactly.
Yes. And then it goes to Rocky, the head of the whole officials, referees, whatever.
The genius.
And he essentially blamed Bastoni. And then you have Kivu, who was interviewed, and he blames Kalulu. What are you doing, man? The players. Again, man, it's football is a game, and you can question Bastoni as a man, as a captain, whatever, as much as you want, and say like he doesn't deserve to be called up to the Italian national team. For me, he is showing his experience.
So
in my opinion, what he did is he gave his team a clear advantage while operating within the rules.
So
he didn't do anything illegal.
Two things over here. Lack of sportsmanship is not illegal, you're right, but it is obviously frowned upon.
Yes, sure.
Two things I'm going to say, because I don't want to be a hypocrite over here. I'm not a hypocrite. Theo Hernandez was my favorite player for Milan over the past 6-7 years. Why? Why was he my favorite player? Because he had furbo, he had street smarts, and he used to get players. Exactly, he'd get players sent off left, right, and center. With that said, and then there were moments where he completely fucked it up. Feyenoord. Lost Milan the game.
Yes, exactly.
From a dive. That's the gamble players like this take. So I'm not going to look at Bastoni, question his integrity, XYZ. What I didn't like at all is how he got up, pleaded for the yellow card, and then celebrated it in that manner. Now, obviously, look, adrenaline is so fucking high. It's the Derby d'Italia. You know what I'm saying, man. You get a player sent off in the 41st minute. Tell me what you would do on the pitch. I'd go mental.
Yeah,
I'd go fucking crazy.
And we've
How
seen it.
you're supposed to practice sportsmanship, yes, in an ideal world, but come on, you're 22 players fucking going absolutely mental, man.
What rubbed people the wrong way was that he dived, was well aware that he dived, and then he celebrated. Which, okay, sure, I mean, he's not gonna go down in history as the gentleman player of his generation, or he's not gonna win the fair play award, But again, man, that is a player that you would want on your team.
Absolutely.
As a player.
Absolutely.
And as a fan, man, if you're a fan of the team, you would love that. Again, Theo Hernandez, man, the dive against Feyenoord wasn't executed intelligently. It was done half-assed. He was almost cocky with it, arrogant, almost claiming the foul immediately. And it bit him in the ass.
And
he
Theo
got embarrassed. That's what you risk.
And Theo also had a reputation for it.
Exactly.
Bastoni, we don't see him do it much.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because he's a defender. When does he need to dive? But honestly, it was expert by Bastoni. He knew the rule, whatever. Look, let's move on from this. I just do want to point out over here this piece of news that you sent me before. There's obviously a lot of drama at halftime. There was Comolli, there was Spalletti and Chiellini going absolutely mental at the ref, and God knows what they told him was definitely worse than what Gift Orban would have told the ref and got that red card. But I believe they got a 15k fine, while Juve so Comolli has been banned from action until March 31st and fined 15k, while Juve director Giorgio Chiellini has been banned until February 27th, that's my birthday. The decision was made by Serie A sports judge Gerardo Mastrandre following the altercation in the tunnel at San Siro during halftime of Inter Milan versus Juve over Kalulu sending off. They said Comolli used an aggressive and seriously intimidating attitude towards the match official.
There's a video of this in the tunnel. You can
Yes,
see it.
yes.
He was going mental. So yes, clearly.
And of course, La Penna has also been suspended for 1 month. Fuck the controversy. What did you make of the game? I was personally very impressed by how Juve held their own. It was a shame that they had to take Conceição out of the game because I thought he was giving a lot of problems to Di Marco. I thought he was getting the better of Di Marco in the first 40 minutes.
He's a unique player, Conceição. I know many people get frustrated by him, many Juventini as well. But he when it comes to taking on a man, he's very technical, and he was causing a lot of problems, bro.
But how good were Juve keeping their shape, hitting on the break? They know where Inter struggled. That's where they were hitting them, man.
They were great, bro. And to be honest, I think when Inter took the lead, they had 0 shots on target by that point.
Yeah.
Which is very telling. And even when they were down a man, Juve, they regrouped, man. Spalletti made some substitutions that were very intelligent, that really helped the team in transition. He brought on the likes of Emil Holm, who's injured, by the way, now, and out for a month. He brought in Holm and then eventually brought on Cabal and Coop Miners, who all played well. Boga and Openda coming on later on as well.
Yeah.
But I thought they remained in the game. They even managed to fucking get an equalizer at one point. They were very impressive, and I was very impressed by Locatelli especially, who put in a leader's performance.
So Locatelli, what impressed me the most was on the counter attacks, his direct passing, his forward passing. We've often criticized him for his always horizontally passing.
Yeah.
But we know that Inter struggle with defending in the middle of the park, and Locatelli was playing these very direct passes to put Juve on the front foot against Inter, and at certain points almost with a numerical advantage, man, even though they were a man down. It was a really good performance by Locatelli, who during the game I criticized at a point, man. It only took me watching the game with a clear head where I said that was a masterful performance by Locatelli. But what did I say when we were watching the game? What's this guy fucking good at, man?
What's he good at, man? What's he good at?
And then he scored moments later. It was fucking crazy, man.
Yes, if you look at the momentum chart here, it paints a clear picture, right? So the game started off actually quite cagey, but it was Juve who were creating the most, the best opportunities. And then Inter, of course, really amped it up after the red card, their pressure.
Yeah.
But they looked human to me, Inter.
They did look human. Keep in mind, this is their first win against a fellow top 4 team all season. And they did take a red card. And to be honest, this is my opinion, there's absolutely no facts to back this up. I think it was Juve win or draw if they were 11 men each. I was really liking how Juve were looking, even without Kefrem.
I think so, yes.
I thought they were playing a really good game of football, and it shows that they now have an experienced manager.
Yes.
Where was I going with that?
I think that's the point.
That's the point.
It makes perfect sense. I mean, the strikers of Inter before the red looked totally isolated, and Juve had them where they wanted them. Yeah.
Totally. So it's a shame that it went the way that it did, but another very entertaining Derby d'Italia. I've really started looking forward to this game. It's often bugged me that this is the Derby d'Italia, and because the Derby of Italy almost insinuates that they're the 2 most successful teams in Italy, when, there's a certain Milan that have 7 Champions Leagues, way more than, the Juve and Inter combined kind of thing. But when you look back at the history, this is such a, I can't think of 2 fan bases that hate each other more for all the political reasons back in 2006 and 2005 and 2004. Man, and just this game is these 2 sets of players over the past 2 years have done a great job at embodying that tension and hatred between the 2 camps, man.
Yes, and I was actually quite quite shocked that it didn't result in a brawl at the end of the game.
Right?
Yeah. But of course, Juve and Inter are going to hate each other, right, more than anyone else. They literally stripped Juve of a title and handed it to Inter. How is that going to go down with the fans?
Yep.
That's something that
Yep.
will never be forgotten. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's it for this game. Trying to keep it a bit more concise this time, guys, because we've noticed that our last few episodes have been 3 hours. Don't worry, we won't sell out and keep them at like 1 hour.
Yeah.
But yeah, Inter remain first on 61 points. They currently have an 8-point advantage over second placed Milan, but Milan do play that game against Como tomorrow or today, depending on when you're listening. Juve dropped down to 5th, however, they are just 1 point behind Roma, who are in 4th place. And I believe they play them very soon, so that's going to be a very entertaining game.
Juicy Lucy. Napoli 2.
Great burger at New York's Best back in the day, the Juicy Lucy.
Remember that, the Juicy Lucy?
Shout out New York's Best, I miss you so much.
I used to work,
at New York's Best? No fucking way. Yeah.
Doing what, counter or chef?
Sure you have a few stories.
okay, for later.
Yeah.
Okay, producer Nate used to be a Burger King, let's say that.
Next.
Napoli 2, Roma 2. So we're talking Conte against Gasperini.
Fuck
Conte's
yes.
structured 3-5-2 against Gasperini's aggressive transition. This was the 12th official encounter between Conte and Gasperini. And in 12 meetings, Conte won 7 times, Gasperini twice, and now there have been 3 draws. It was a tactical battle, bro, but the coolest part of this game was that every goal came from a winter signing.
Oh, yo, that's
Yes.
so true, dog.
Of course, De Bruyne, Di Lorenzo...
No, Spinazzola wasn't.
Yeah, but that was a deflection.
Saved.
There we go.
Saved by the deflection.
So yes, missing, we have De Bruyne, Di Lorenzo, Anguissa, Neres, and Juan Jesus was suspended. Of course, this is on Napoli's behalf, while Roma were missing Kone, Dovbyk, El Shaarawy, Ferguson, and Hermoso, with Ferguson and Hermoso being doubtful and never actually making the game. So Napoli lined up in their, of course, it was technically a 3-4-2-1 formation on paper, with Vanja Milinkovic-Savic in goal, Beukema, Rahmani and Buongiorno at the back, with Gutierrez on the right and Spinazzola on the left, Elmas and Lobotka in the middle, with Politano and Vergara playing off the shoulders of Højlund. Roma would go on to mirror that formation with Svilar in goal, Gilardi, Indica and Mancini at the back, with Wesley and Celik out wide, Cristante and Pizzilli in the middle, with Pellegrini and Zaragoza playing behind Malin. Yes, Roma opened the scoring with a classic Gasperini transition. It was Zaragoza who made his first start, burning down the right and squaring it to Malin, who slid in, scoring his 4th goal in 5 league games and making it look totally effortless. But there's nothing effortless about what Malin is doing. He works so hard, he reads the game so well, and he's constantly working that line, man.
I love him.
He has one instruction, man, literally to poach, to run in behind, to score goals. It's really cool the way Gasperini has deployed him.
Yep, agreed.
Napoli tried to respond. Højlund wanted a penalty after a tussling with Indica. Nothing was given. Lobotka tested Svilar, but Roma survived the growing pressure. Napoli equalized in the 40th minute through a deflection. It was a long Napoli build-up, and it was Roma ex-Spinazzola. Many people forget he used to play for Roma. He unleashed a strike from distance. It took a deflection off of Pizzilli and looped over Svilar to equalize. In the second half, there was a bit of a tactical shift. Sule came on, but Napoli started stronger, and Sule clearly, to me, is playing with an injury. He should be playing, could barely run. Spinazzola forced Svilar into another awkward save, and then the turning point came. There was a penalty for Roma as well as a double injury. So Wesley was brought down on the left. Ramadani, literally, I think he got injured and fell onto him and took him down with him. Rahmani, sorry. He got injured, I think, while he was running. I think he pulled up.
Yes, he did.
I don't think it was the foul that injured him. I think he literally got injured, fell, and dropped Wesley.
My God, another one for Napoli.
Yeah, terrible. Of course, it was Malin who stepped up and buried it top corner, even though Vanja guessed the right way, and he completed his brace, making it actually 5-5. The quickest player to score 5 goals since Battistuta.
Yep.
Mental.
And then that's just an insane statistic, especially when you consider that I think the only prolific goal scorer they've had since then barring obviously Totti in between, was probably Edin Dzeko in recent history.
Yes, literally, bro. In the 82nd minute, Napoli's January hero saved the day. So Conte, of course, the team looked tired, right? So he had to turn to his new boy. So he brought on Giovanni and Alison Santos. Giovanni slid a clever pass into Alison Santos, who cut inside and drilled one into the bottom corner. He had already been threatening making these runs. And bro, dare I say, Alison Santos shoots like Mbappe.
I know exactly what you mean, and there's a video of Mbappe doing drills of that exact same shot where he opens himself up like he's gonna go for the far post, and then he shoots it into the near corner. There's a detailed video of Mbappe, I think, showing a youngster that move.
It's great, and it worked to perfection, to be honest. And I thought he looked really dangerous when he came on, and it was actually Napoli who pushed for the winner, with Gutierrez forcing a fingertip save. But that was it, bro. 2-2, and I think it was a deserved draw. But Roma would feel, I think, that they could have done better here. What do you think?
So I think, firstly, I think Napoli did a great job to get the point, considering that I felt Roma were more threatening throughout the game, and I thought Roma played a really good game. And I think
they did.
Roma would be happy to walk away with a point. Going into this game, I think in hindsight, they'd be happy to go away with a point against the champions in the Maradona, in Naples. It's a very tough game. No matter how many injuries they have, considering how the game went, Roma should have won the game. And I think the barrier between them and winning the game is a little bit more street smart, which is the same way Inter win games, which is the same way, Inter won which is the way in which Inter won the Derby d'Italia, because Inter typically destroy their opposition. It's how Milan win games. A little bit of furbo, a little bit of street smarts is needed by this Roma team, I think. I think they found the perfect striker for their system. I think the way that this guy attacks space, runs in behind, it always seems like, fuck it, his best trait is his positional awareness and his movement. That's 100%. Take nothing away from his ability with the ball, but he's a true poacher, man.
Yes,
he knows exactly where to be. And where would they be if...
Can you get that, Nate? It's fine, we can continue in the meantime. It's fine. Sorry, my doorbell is ringing. Profiles were some very interesting and great opportunistic scouting done over there, bro. Had Malin come in from the very beginning, they could easily be up there, comfortable in top 4, maybe even pushing a little bit for the title. Right?
They could be ahead of Napoli, I think.
Hard to say, of course. But yes, you said you praised his positional awareness, and that by far is the most impressive thing about the way he's been playing, how intelligently he works the line, like I said. But also, the fact that once he gets a little bit of space, everything he does is perfect. Once he gets a shot off, it's well placed. It's the right decision always. If he has to turn around and play a ball down the wing, it's perfectly weighted. He's just a very complete forward, man.
Totally, man. Totally. Yeah. No, what a player, and man of the match. And, Gasperini's going to hope this guy could stay fit for the entire season, because he's changed this team. Yeah. And I was quite impressed by Zaragoza as well. I think starting in the Derby del Sole is no easy feat for a youngster who's just come in. Everyone seems so hyped about him. I like his dribbling style, man. He has good technique.
He's the only player on Roma who can actually take on a player.
Yeah.
Like
without obviously duel. with their injuries, etc.
Of course, yes, right now. So he gives them a new avenue, man, and it makes them really complicated. What I did have problems with was Pellegrini's performance, man, and I think that Pellegrini is way too inconsistent. And I understand he's Roman and all that, and they have an affinity towards him, but at this point, wouldn't they be better off maybe exploring another option behind the striker over there, someone who can get a little bit more involved?
Totally, and I think they could have done that last season. I don't know why it wasn't done in the summer, to be honest.
Yeah.
He shows up one game every season, and it's the game against Lazio.
Yeah, exactly.
He is Mr. Rome in that sense.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. Probably, of course, the fact that Sule isn't 100%. And that leaves only Robinho, Vaz and Venturino, who are both young. Of course, it's not it's not exactly ideal.
Mhm.
Yes. For me, man, Roma's link between defense and attack goes through one player consistently, and that is Wesley, man.
Mhm.
Wesley is tireless. He's a beast. He's an
Yeah.
absolute beast. He's one of the best wing backs in the league, I think.
I think one of the signings of the summer,
Yeah.
made by any team in the league. To be honest, I think for what he's added to Roma, it's been ridiculous. And Roma have struggled with that position before. I mean, Angelino seemed like he was doing pretty well last season, but had his limitations as well. Before that, they were like kind of using Zalewski and the other guy and the other guy. But Wesley brings in such a unique such a unique skill set from the Brazilian league,
Yeah.
which is it's great to see. This is the opportunities that the Club World Cup opens, no?
Yeah. Absolutely. We get a full audition, right, in summer, actually, randomly.
Yeah.
I remember our dad getting excited about the 2 or 3 Brazilians Nottingham Forest.
Yeah.
Apparently they're all garbage. But yes.
Yeah, well, we can go on about days about the ownership of Nottingham Forest making the wrong decisions.
Yes, bro, I thought that Buongiorno was better this game on Napoli's behalf. I thought that Vergara was a little bit iffy this game. He did a whole lot of falling around.
Yeah,
He was
well,
just
he's known
slipping
for
and
it.
falling, right? I think, of course, he isn't a player who's going to come in and play consistently well regularly.
Yeah.
He's only getting used to playing regularly. It's a new thing for him, so I guess we can excuse it, right? When you see
Totally.
someone like Pellegrini not showing up, that concerns me a lot more than someone
Totally.
like Vergara, right?
Man, do you remember how fucking good Neres was before he got injured?
Of course, man.
Yeah, see,
Of course.
a superstar. When you think of the players that these guys are missing, it's quite ridiculous.
It's-
Anguissa has been out since before
Yeah.
AFCON. He had gotten fit in time for AFCON. David Neres was one of the best, most influential players in the league.
It's true.
Of course, Kevin De Bruyne comes with his skill set as well. They just got Lukaku back. But impressive draw by Napoli considering the injury crisis. With that said,
For
bro.
both, bro, because, of course, having Ferguson and Dovbyk out for
And
Roma,
Manu Kone as well.
And Kone as well, yes. They had to explore different avenues for attack, having to bring on both Vaz and Venturino this game
Totally,
as well, and an
totally.
injured Soule as well.
Totally.
So both teams had to kind of adapt tactically.
Yes, but my point is Napoli with their injury crisis. I know we've mentioned it before, but is it on the training regime? Because it simply can't be. I know it's quite random that, for example, last season Milan were fucking swamped with injuries. It was unbelievable. This season it's Napoli. Is this a random personnel kind of thing, or is it like the training regime that Conte puts his players through, the fitness team that's within the camp? There has to be something going wrong in Naples for all these injuries to accumulate.
It's a combination of things, right? Of course, you have players who are on the older side as well, who have been a little bit injury prone in recent times, training very intensely under Conte. They literally say that like the games are easier than the training sessions, literally.
You're saying KDB and Lukaku
Yes,
predominantly.
Exactly. You have the fact that they're playing so regularly. These things all play a factor. They all play a part. And I'm sure contest training is a lot more intense. So I'm sure it plays a factor.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, totally.
Yes, I think that's pretty much it. I just have 2 juicy stats for you, of course, because we can't move on before the juicy stats. Napoli have now scored in 10 matches in a row at home versus Roma. And the last time they didn't score at home versus Roma was in 2015.
Oh, wow.
Yes, while Napoli haven't kept a clean sheet now in 7 matches in a row. 13 conceded during that period. Their last clean sheet was versus Sassuolo on the 17th of January, 2026, of course.
Of course, this was the team that last year had the best defense in the league. And the year before, they had a shambolic defense.
Yes, fair
so
enough.
it's really
Yes.
volatile.
So Napoli are in 3rd with 50 points, while Roma are in 4th with 47 points.
Oh, wow. 50 and 47.
50 and 47, bro.
Damn!
And Atalanta are right there now. They've gone up to 6th with 42. Juve, because they lost, have 46 and 5th. It's really
No,
heating up.
you guys just wait till we get to the bottom.
Yeah,
To the
is
bottom
mental.
half of the table. It's fucking ridiculous. Speaking of the bottom, hi, I'm Matt. I'm kidding. Pisa. Pisa 1, Milan 2. Milan's first win of the season against a newly promoted side. It sounds bizarre, but it is in fact, because the previous encounter was a 2-2 draw between these sides. Now, Pisa entered this match winless in their last 13 with a recent managerial shift. They were coming off a 0-0 draw to Hellas, the famous game where we said that there was they both lost in that game. They were missing Vural, Marin, Semper, Denun and Albiol. Milan still undefeated since their matchday 1 defeat to Cremonese, and they had a week off due to the Olympics. Fantastic. Their Como game is now scheduled for tomorrow, so you know the schedule is essentially fucked. Rarely for Milan, who play one competition. They were missing Santi Jimenez, Salemakers, while obviously Leao and Pulisic didn't start because of the game against Como on Thursday, but they're also not fully fit, and Leao hasn't been fully fit all season since that Bari game.
Bro, it's been since match day 1, and I realized...
Since the Bari game, just before the season started, where he scored a header.
Like, it is now match day what, man? 25? And
25,
25, and we still haven't seen Leao properly.
Yes.
We haven't seen Leao sprint this season.
Yeah.
Like,
Talk about
are we gonna see him?
Talk about a Leao... a Leao dependent team, right? In second place without Leao, but whatever. So 3-4-2-1 formation for Pisa with their third choice goalkeeper in goal, Nicholas. Hey Nick. Okay, this is a bit small, so I'm just gonna go with Bozinov, Caracciolo and Carnestrelli at the back, Angori on the left, Toure on the right, double pivot of Abusher and Loyola, with Tramoni and Moreo playing behind Stojilkovic. For Allegri, 3-5-2 classic, right? Mike Magnan in goal, backline of Tomori, Gabbia and Pavlovic, Athekame on the right, Bartezaghi on the left, midfield trio of Fofana, Modric and Rabiot, with Ruben, Choftis-Leaks and Nkunku up front together. A very physical front two for Allegri.
Yes.
The early moments, so Pisa started cautiously, Milan controlled possession but struggled to create clear-cut chances. Nicholas was largely a spectator for the first 30 minutes. Other than the 32nd minute, it was actually Pisa who had a chance as Moreo's through ball found Stojilkovic behind the offside trap and Magnan saved his one-on-one. Huge confidence boost for Pisa early on, and not that Mike needs a confidence boost, but gave him a little spring in his step. 39th minute, Milan scored, of course. It was a cross by Zachary Athekame from the right, and Loftus-Cheek essentially had a free header, even though there are 3 centre-backs around his area. Ruben Loftus-Cheek had a free header, and he opened the scoring.
Athekame is one of the best crossers I've seen, I think.
Bro, he's...
Left, right, no problem. They're all perfectly accurate.
I completely agree.
It's bizarre.
Crossing, he's better than Salemakers.
Honestly.
Salemakers has better industry, he's better with the ball at his feet, but
yes.
if Athekame gets wide and you give him a through ball on the flank, he's going to whip in a good cross.
Yes.
He's going to whip in the ball in a dangerous area. He's great at that, man.
It's really
Fantastic at
because
that.
Bartezaghi isn't bad either at crossing. He's got a good
Bartezaghi is great at crossing.
Yes.
And they both give those whipped crosses, right?
Man,
not
those,
floated,
when you're not
low.
expecting them as well. Like one of those like half swing crosses, like out of nowhere. Yes.
Exactly.
Sleeper crosses.
Yeah, there was a halftime substitution by Milan as Fulkrug came on for Nkunku, and just 9 minutes later, Fulkrug missed a penalty. He actually has a fantastic record at taking penalties. I believe he's only missed 2 in his career, and he scored somewhere in the 20s.
That's because he had never come up against the mighty Nicholas.
Exactly. Or Nicholas's right-hand post.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. So Pavlovic was fouled in the box. Fulkrug took the penalty. He did that stutter. Weird. he strikes me as a person that will cunt the ball into the back of the net.
Same.
But he stuttered. The keeper read him like a book, but he hit the outside of the post essentially. Opportunity wasted, and then the 71st minute, Pisa got the equalizer. Stojkovic crossed the ball to Moreo. Pavlovic deflected the first attempt, and then it fell to Loyola, who tapped it in to make it 1-1. That's his first goal in Serie A for Loyola, of course, against Milan. Defensively, shambolic here, I would say Tomori and Gabbia were really caught ball watching, and it ended up Pavlovic trying to defend 2-3 different players.
Bro. Another game. Wait, sorry, is that it?
No, Milan. Milan won.
Yes, I was going to say.
So there were some substitutions and tactical tweaks, and then as Allegri brought on Ricci and Leao, later Pulisic, Milan switched to a 4-3-3, and then back to a 3-5-2 after Milan got the 81st minute winner through Luka Modric. Luka Modric dribbled into the box after a give and go with Ricci, and then he dinked the ball past Nicholas with the outside of his foot to get the win. That's still not the end of it. As Rabiot received a harsh yellow card, which meant that he'll miss the game against Como. But obviously when you get a harsh yellow card and it means you're going to miss the Como game, you have to tell the ref to go fuck himself, which Rabiot did. Therefore he got sent off, and he's going to miss the Como game anyway. So yeah, that's it.
Yes, because I have had this. I've been a bit worried, bro.
Oh
I have to admit, man, I've been a bit worried about this Como game.
Okay.
Because I can't help those visions of that first half of Milan Como earlier this season. They give me anxiety.
Oh shit!
You know, the way that Como attacked and the way Milan just survived and held out, and then eventually attacked the space and won quite emphatically towards the end. But my hot take for this, and I wanted to discuss this with you, was actually giving Modric a rest for the Como game. Because Como just overwhelm you, and you need people who are at their physical peak. So I was going to suggest to you, Mablala, starting with Rabiot, Ricci or Yashari and Fofana, or even maybe Ricci and Yashari alongside Rabiot, to kind of put players who can all play with the ball against Como, all play with the ball. And Milan's players have more physical profiles. But the fact that Rabiot is missing this game now has fucked everything.
And that was one of my first talking points, which is who's Rabiot missing against Como? Who do you start? I think, in my opinion, you start Modric nonetheless. I know he played 90. I know he's 40 years old. Yeah. You start him. If anything, you sub him out early for Yashari. I think it'll be starting lineup. I think it'll be Ricci, Modric, Fofana, with Yashari making an early appearance in place for Modric.
Fair enough. You know what worries me though? The first 25 minutes of Pisa Milan, Modric made so many mistakes.
He did make some mistakes.
He made so many mistakes. And against Como, a team that thrives in transition, if you misplace a ball in front of the defense, they'll punish you. They'll create something every time. And remember, Nico Paz is going to play because he wasn't sent off for that.
Yes, but you could, like Modric has had 23 flawless games and he's had 2 iffy ones. I think the experience of Modric and the technique of Modric is important in a game like that, at least to start the game. I'd rather start Modric and then bring on Yashari later on, then start Yashari and bring Modric in later on. I think I'm no Allegri, but Milan are definitely
will set up well.
Yeah, Milan are definitely in a pickle for that game against Como. But I guess we'll wait and see tomorrow, and we'll let you guys know next week. I want to point out the penalty encroachment for Pisa's penalty. Of course, Pisa scored the penalty. Complete brain fart. So Milan missed the penalty. Füllkrug missed the penalty. Yeah. When Füllkrug missed the penalty, you can see clearly, and Rabiot posted a screenshot on his stories. He doesn't give a fuck. You could see clearly 1 or 2 Pisa players in the box. Now, had the keeper saved it and it fell to one of those players, it would have definitely been an encroachment. But that's not the rule. The rule is that encroachment when the player shoots should be a retake, right? So,
but they
That should have
It's one of
technically
those
been a
rules
retake.
That isn't really enforced.
But
right?
but like
unless
but you have to be consistent with it,
yes,
because
yes.
and then this is what happens. So it didn't piss me off too much because, like you're saying, the ball hit the post, I went out, nothing would have changed.
Exactly.
But in another situation against Milan, it could so be the case that a penalty has to be retaken for the opposition.
Yes, because the
And then
referee
it's like
decided
we
to
feel
enforce
like
the rule.
we're getting fucked because
Yes,
the referee just decided to enforce
No,
the rule.
Refereeing in this league needs a little bit of attention, to say the least. Like
It's the worst, huh? It's bad.
This season has been the worst since we started the podcast, at least.
Mhm.
Like, and VAR was introduced. When was VAR introduced?
We had VAR.
We had VAR when we started, right?
Yes, because Milan won the league with VAR.
Yes. So it's worse now than when VAR was originally introduced. Somehow.
Yes.
Because the decisions this year have been bizarre.
Because it's not down to VAR, it's down to the personnel around VAR and
The interpretation, right?
the interpretation. I feel like the referees aren't being given this, like they don't have a clear direction on how, when, and why.
Mhm.
And then going back to the Derby d'Italia, the rules surrounding VAR actually are making the referee's job even harder.
Yes.
In that sense. So VAR has helped the league, and it's helped football in general. If you look at some Champions League highlights and you see some of the fucking, like, Real Madrid would be stripped of 4 Champions Leagues, if not 5 Champions Leagues, and I'm
There was
sure
a game
many
in
other
England
cases.
recently, no, without VAR, and everyone was freaking out at the mistakes they made. I mean, no, VAR is essential.
Essential.
You need VAR,
But you need smart people to implement it
exactly.
properly.
You need to use it to your advantage.
And let me
essentially.
say it as it is, bro. Serie A is run terribly, yeah? So there's the whole commercialization of it where they can't compete with any of the other leagues financially, particularly the Premier League. There's the whole TV rights situation. You
That's
know,
it, yeah.
there's the refereeing
The
scandals.
stadiums not being owned
There's the
privately, most of them.
stadiums not being owned by the teams. And then on top of that, the stadiums not meeting the standards, so Italy can't host competitions. Therefore, they can't make proper money from such competitions, from the Euros, from the World Cup, etc. It's a complete fucking shit show. It's a shit show. And if the same people keep running Serie A, they're gonna run it to the ground.
Yes.
But that maybe we should do an episode on that.
I think
but
the rules as well need to be revisited and straightened out. Encroachment needs to be sorted out. What makes a penalty needs to be sorted out. What kind of handball makes a penalty needs to be sorted out, especially. The second yellow card rule needs to be changed. It needs to be-
totally.
you should be able to review expulsions, man.
Streakers need to
Yes.
be allowed.
Streakers allowed, yes, and I think the game will be much better. And then
Nate is just making eye contact with me whenever I say something weird.
so Nate, our producer, is still getting used to us, and
Us.
particularly my brother.
No, wait. I'm still getting used to Nate, bro.
Is
Uh-huh.
that-
Nate has his quirks.
is that-
Yo.
Yeah,
Now I got
amazing.
it. Now I
Okay,
got
okay,
it.
okay.
1 hour in.
Yeah, we're an hour in.
Super. Super. So Modric was the hero in this game, as well as Allegri's in-game management. To be fair, he made the right substitutions at the right time. I did see a lot of criticism about Allegri trying to settle for the 1-0, and it always seems the case that I see this criticism that Allegri tried to settle for the 1-0, and whenever I hear it, Milan would have had 2 disallowed goals, Milan would have hit the post 3 times, Milan would have missed the penalty. Allegri did not try to settle
No.
for the 1-0.
No, I mean, he obviously
Set a
played
more
cautious
cautious approach,
but
hit
it's
on
fine,
the
but-
break.
But Milan could have gone 2-0 up. And then
Yes.
we're never talking about this shit, you know? I
Exactly.
mean, it's not fucking Allegri's fault that Fulkrug missed the penalty, you know? I think Milan were set up well. And if you look at the statistics, man, of most games this season, Milan, these small ones that Milan don't win, Milan dominate every single one of them. It's just... It's an element of misfortune as well, let's be real. And yes, when you invite pressure, you're likely to concede towards the end. And that's the problem, I think. The fact that Milan's players can't get more than a 1-goal lead. And then Allegri chooses to sit back and to contain a little bit maybe earlier than most people would like, inviting pressure. And then Milan have been unfortunate with the pressure.
Yeah,
That's
totally.
pretty much it, right? The story of the season against the
Yes,
smaller
and,
side.
and again, it's year one with Max.
Yes.
For Milan, they're in second position and they're doing great, really. Of course,
for the majority of the season.
as at a marginal victory over here, I think it sets Milan up quite well. Had it not been for the Rabiot red card, it set Milan up for Como brilliantly, because Allegri only utilised Leao and Pulisic for the last bit. He substituted players out early, so I think it was well handled. It took a bit of drama, but Milan have a player like Modric that can get them out of the drama, because personnel, of course, makes a huge difference to every single team.
I wonder if Modric makes his coffee in the morning with the outside of his foot, man.
He
probably drives with it. He probably does everything.
Takes his kids to school with the outside of his foot, brother.
Exactly. He signs contracts with the outside of his foot.
Madonna, but the technique, the
He's
control
lovely.
he has.
And
with
I
the
love
outside of
shout
his
out
foot.
to Richie as well for that very clever knockdown.
It was a very Tonali-esque assist, I found, that Grinta, and he's really fitting into that role, that box-to-box role. Richie, it brings out, he has good legs on him, good technique. Yes. When it comes to Pisa, I thought the debut of Hiljemark was the 0-0 draw to Verona last week. Look, the team is showing structure, but it's still adapting to Serie A, at least under Hiljemark. Of course, Gilardino had a longer stretch to do it, and he didn't manage to convincingly do it. Only got one victory, of course, in 23 games. It's too early to say when it comes to the impact Hiljemark is going to have on this team. I thought they had a very good organized counter in this game.
They looked quite
No
similar
more
to
than
what
that.
to be honest, bro, if I hadn't known, I would have just thought that was Gilardino and he was maybe suspended or something.
Yep,
they looked so similar.
They had a very organized counter with Gilardino
Before,
as well,
exactly.
to be fair.
I do want to point out, bro, I know Loftus-Cheek scored. I know, and today it seems like I'm just going to shit on both players who scored. Bench Modric for Coman. No. Of course, shout out Modric. He's a hero. What a legend. Timeless. But Loftus-Cheek, man, he scored, it's true, but his positioning, his movement. At one point you hear Allegri saying he's never facing the ball. Like he never attacks the space because he doesn't see the space, because he's never facing the right direction.
But he's also not a fucking striker.
He's not a striker, granted. Okay, he's playing out of position, but that's the thing. Yeah, I mean,
I thought...
like, why isn't Fulkrug... Is Fulkrug unfit?
Fulkrug has a broken...
He had, okay, but
toe
when he
foot
broke
or
his
whatever.
toe, initially he was playing more than he's playing now, and time has passed, which means his toe should be better.
Look, Allegri's team selection, I remember him at Juve, there was always, some iffy things here and there. Fact of the matter is, he scored a header, he got Milan that early lead. I thought not his link up, but he played well with Nkunku. I feel like Nkunku and Loftus complemented each other in this game. I think they both had an okay performance overall. I think they both had a safe performance. Were there errors here and there out of unfamiliarity by Loftus-Cheek? Not only by unfamiliarity, because he's a frustrating player in how he fails to use his body to his advantage, and how he lacks the courage to enter certain duels. Of course, coming from early injuries in his career, he snapped, I believe, his Achilles tendon in a friendly game back in the day. But I won't point at him. What I will point at with Milan when it comes to mistakes is that Gabbia Tomori little thing, and that mistake at the back where they were caught
for the
ball watching. I think it was predominantly Tomori's fault. I thought it was Tomori's ball. Is Tomori the weakest link out of this back three? If Milan sign, I don't know, or if De Winter walks into the team, who's the first one that you replace out of this back three? Because it's not perfect, obviously.
It's not perfect. I think Tomori has to be replaced first. I think Pavlovic is improving. And I just love the chaos he creates when he bombs forward. I think that Pavlovic can build something around him as well. Gabbia is the level head at the back. I think, yes, Tomori doesn't have to be. Tomori, when he's on his game, he's the best one of the lot. Don't get me wrong.
Yes.
But it's just
especially
that he's a bit erratic sometimes. He gets a bit excited.
And caught out of position a couple of times. But anyway, guys, Milan are in second. As I said, 8 points behind Inter, however, have a game in hand which is being played tomorrow. On the other hand, Pisa are in 19th. level on points with 20th Verona, actually.
Yes. Lazio 0, Atalanta 2, brother.
Yes, sir.
It's, of course, the Olimpico was half empty. I think it was more than half, actually. But
Three quarters empty.
There were more spectators because Lotito, to challenge this stadium ban, has put ticket prices down to €5. So if you're in and around Rome in the coming weeks, a ticket is €5.
Insane.
Insane, eh?
Good reaction, I guess.
It's a good reaction, but it's also like
all his fault.
And in fact, I want to talk to you, bro, because they're not like the Lazio supporters aren't going to the stadium, and they have a Coppa semi-final coming up now. So now we'll see how they must show up for that, right?
Yeah.
Lazio were missing Gigo, of course. Lazzari, Zaccagni, Basic, Pedro, and Romagnoli was suspended. So that's quite a hefty absentee list for them. Atalanta were missing CDK, and Scamacca was only fit enough to make the bench, and it turns out his services were not even needed.
Nope.
For Lazio, it was a 4-3-3 with Provedel in goal, Marisic, Hila, Prostgard, yes, and Tavares at the back. Fucking hell, Prostgard, how that name threw me off. Yeah. Della Bashiru, Cataldi, and Taylor in midfield with Isaacson on the right, Noslin on the left, and Maldini up front. For Atalanta, it was Carnesecchi in goal, the great, fantastic Carnesecchi.
Carnesecchi.
Ahanor, Gym City, and Scalvini at the back in a 3-4-2-1 formation with Bernasconi and Zappacosta out wide, Ederson and Derun in the middle with Samardzic and Zalewski playing off the shoulders of Kristovic. So Lazio actually started this game brighter. It was Noslin who created 2 half chances. Maldini looked lively against his former club. Taylor forced Carnesecchi into a fingertip save onto the post. But the theme became clear quite early that Lazio dominate territory, but they struggled to score goals. And who would have thought that bringing in Daniel Maldini to play as a striker wouldn't solve that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think Daniel Maldini has actually been playing very well for Lazio, but yeah, he's not a goal scorer, right?
No way.
So there was a huge let-off for Lazio when Provedel catastrophically misjudged the long ball. Bernasconi rounded him and squared it to Kristovic, but Profsgaard was there producing a goal.
Yes.
Saving header.
Excellent by Profsgaard.
Yeah, really good. In the 24th minute, Palladino surprised us, bro, by exercising an early tactical sub, maybe learning from his previous mistakes.
He had 2 out of 3 centre-backs booked in the opening 20 minutes of the game. He had to do it.
Exactly.
He had to do it.
Ahanor was the victim. He was on a yellow and he was drowning against Isaacson, and he sacrificed the 17-year-old after 25 minutes for Kolasinac, who stabilized the defense immediately. I'm a big fan of Ahanor, 17 years old. It's crazy how much this guy's playing, and he's flying under the radar.
Totally.
But I think in times like this, moments like this, he had the presence of mind to realize this is a 17-year-old. He's under pressure. We're in the first half. I need to sort this out.
Yeah, we've seen him get sent off as well before. It's a good
Genoa,
call. It's a good call by
Palladino.
By Palladino.
Yeah. So in the 41st minute, Zappacosta executed a perfect give and go, hit the byline, and Cataldi blocked the cut back with his arm. It was one of those where you go sliding in, of course. Well, how are you going to slide with your arm up? Unfortunately, that's the reality. You can't slide with your arm like this, because even if you're pulling it down and the arm hits you, it could have gone into the box.
Yes.
You know? So obviously, that is a penalty. No VAR needed. Ederson converted, and Atalanta went into halftime with a clinical 1-0 lead. And the second half started. Lazio pushed, and Atalanta punished them, of course. It was Nuno Tavares who pushed a little bit too much. He overcommitted. And one moment, because this scroll thing is all fucked and I've lost where I am. Damn. Yes, exactly. So Lazio thought they got a penalty for a Zappacosta handball, but VAR wiped it out because Tavares was offside in the build-up. Noslin nearly equalized with a brilliant flicked header. Carnesecchi pulled off an amazing one-handed save to stop it.
Yes.
And then Marisic sent the rebound over. So in the 60th minute, this is time for Zalewski. Now he drifted inside. Isaacson lost him, and he curled a gorgeous right-footed strike into the far right corner. It was Bernasconi who got the assist, and what a fucking goal. That was a classic Atalanta goal with a wide overload inverted midfielder hitting the edge of the box. We interrupt this program because our analytics show us that a bunch of you cheeky monkeys are listening to us weekly without dropping us a like, a follow, or a rating. So please go bananas and
Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube, and drop us a 5-star rating wherever you get your podcasts. It really helps us grow and keep bringing you weekly content.
quit monkeying around. We're the only English-speaking Serie A podcast that do weekly episodes covering every single match, every single team, every single week.
If you really love us and want an ad-free experience, become a patron. It's only $3.99 a month, and you'll be added to a group chat with 50+ like-minded legends, join our fantasy league, and even win a free kit of your choice for winning the league.
So come on, chimp out with us. Trouble for Lazio as Hila went off with a knee injury, and Raspadori also injured himself when Atalanta had already used all of their subs, so they had to finish the game with 10 men. That's like me on Football Manager every time I get an injury.
Literally
every time.
Same,
I always
same.
use my subs. I realize it's like the 65th minute and I've used them all.
Let me rotate all
manager
my
out there.
midfielders.
Yeah.
Well, the midfielder that comes on gets injured after 5 minutes. What do I
Exactly.
do, man?
Exactly, bro. Lazio nearly took advantage of their numerical superiority. Ratkov hit the post and completely missed an 8-yard sitter, but he was saved by Dia being in an offside position, and that was it. Full-time 2-0 for Atalanta. Not that straightforward, but pretty calmly done, I thought, bro.
Calmly done by Atalanta. I thought that on the eye, I thought Lazio had a very good game, and I feel like Lazio have been playing really good football over the past 3 match days. Things haven't always gone their way. Things haven't always gone their way. Nothing has gone Lazio's way. It's these this group of 20 players and a 68-year-old chain smoker. Their fate is completely in these guys' hands, and Sarri doesn't know what players he's gonna have and when. And everything is up in the air at this point. I thought Atalanta, on the other hand, obviously, they were more opportunistic. They have the personnel to be able to get them goals. That's what Lazio lack at this stage, because they're creating chances. They had an XG of 1.07. Bro, they had 18 shots. 18 shots, and once again, so last week, Carnesecchi's sofa score gave him a rating of 10 in that victory, or in that draw, I can't remember, against Como, when they were a man down in that 0-0 draw. This week he's on a 9.8 again, and this time he's made, let me see how many saves he's made. Goalkeeper. This week he made 6 saves again.
6 great saves as well. He's a fantastic keeper. It's crazy. Right now we're seeing some keepers falter, like they're showing their human side. Like Odero has made a few mistakes recently.
Caprile as well.
Caprile is making mistakes as well. While Carnesecchi's going so strong right now.
It's Carnesecchi and Big Mike that are the best keepers in the league by a landslide. Carnesecchi number 2 in the World Cup. For sure. Donnarumma number 1, Carnesecchi number 2.
Also, shout out to Svilar, who has been very good. Or are you saying Italians?
I'm saying for the World Cup, for
I
Italy.
thought you were talking about the league, because even Provedel is making a name for himself as well this season, man. He's really recovering. He's finding his form again after last season.
Yes, but you mentioned Svilar. It's interesting because Serbia, Svilar and Vanja, who's going to start over there?
It's been Svilar recently, in fact. Yeah. That's a hard one. Yes, man. Atalanta are looking really mature, man, and they have actually climbed to 6th spot, as we discussed. 42 points. They are right there. And this was always going to be a difficult game for Lazio because of their home struggles against Atalanta. They've only managed 1 home win against Atalanta in the last 9 meetings now, and this fixture will continue to haunt them.
Yes, bro, and clean their last loss. So Atalanta in the Serie A haven't lost in 2026. Their last loss comes on the 28th of December against Inter at home with the score of 1-0. Before that, of course, they lost away to Hellas Verona with the score of 3-1 as well. But if you look at their 2026 so far, man, you know, there's a win against Roma, a win against Bologna, a win against Torino. You know, there's, the disappointing draw to Pisa, trashing of Parma, the draw to Como, win over Cremonese, and an away win over Lazio. It's been a fantastic year for them. If they can keep this up, man, you know, they could even make Champions League. They're there.
Absolutely. And this game particularly was impressive, bro, because of the how physical and how technically not offensive the lineup was. You have Kristovic and Samardzic, who are the only 2 naturally attacking, purely attacking players, right? Everyone else is by trade a defensive player. Zappa Costa, Bernasconi, Zalewski, Ederson,
Yes,
and
and
they can still create so much.
Yes, and Palladino is a very, very balanced manager, so he uses these players very well. He knows who his attacking outlets are, he knows who his defensive outlets are, but they've got a double pivot that can do a bit of everything.
I agree,
you know,
it's so
Ederson
good,
and
man.
their own are brilliant at that. And you know what? I miss Pasalic, man, though. I do miss Pasalic. I thought Pasalic was having a really good season so far.
Yes.
I thought it was like this rebirth of him. He had that very emotional moment. He lost his father earlier this year, and he came back and scored immediately.
Maybe he was
And-
saving him for Dortmund tonight, bro.
Oof,
Dortmund away tonight. Atalanta.
Speaking of, let's move on so that we can watch some Champions League tonight.
Yes,
So
brother.
we could keep these guys informed.
Of course, the standings, Atalanta 6 with 42 points, while Lazio are 9th with 33.
Massive shout out to Atalanta and Lazio. Keep rocking, guys. All right, Como 1, Fiorentina 2. Of course, Como had they had 90 minutes and a penalty shootout against Napoli midweek in Coppa. You can tell I started getting tired in my prep over here. I said they had 120 minutes against Napoli. First thing I said on this episode was, no, I guys went straight to penalties after 90 minutes. A rare win for Fiorentina and a rare loss for Como, let's be honest. Como's most recent outing was an infuriating 0-0 draw to 10-man Atalanta, but they also had a week off due to the Olympics, and they will play Milan as well on the 18th. They were missing Diao and Goldaniga. Fiorentina were coming off a 2-2 draw to Torino. Previously, they had 2 losses to Napoli and Cagliari. They were missing Lamptey, Rugani, Goodmanson and Sabiri. The previous encounter between these two sides was a 2-1 away victory for Como, and in the Cup it was a 3-1 victory for Como, also away from home. When it comes to the lineups, it was a 4-2-3-1 formation for Fabregas's men, with Bute in goal, the hero of midweek. Voivoda was the right back, Valle was the left back, and the 2 centre backs were Kempf and Ramon. Dacunia and Perrone formed a double pivot, with Baturina on the left, Kun on the right, with Paz starting behind Duvicas. It was a 4-3-3 for Vanoli's men, David De Gea in goal, backline of Dodò, Pongracic, Ranieri and Parisi, Mandragora, Fagioli and Brescianini formed the midfield three, with Harrison and Solomon flanking Moise Kean. Not to be confused with Harrison from Love Island. It's coupled up with Bell. Massive eye roll. Nico Paz tested De Gea quite early on. Fiorentina were sitting very deep and compact. Como had more of the ball but little penetration. I thought Fiorentina were doing a great job to remain vigilant defensively, and then their moment came in the 26th minute as Parisi one possession high. Fagioli had all the space in the world on the left side of the box.
Como defense decided to go for a stroll
Bro,
on the left side.
Ramon and whoever it was, Ramon and Voivoda pretty much were making out on the corner flag. While Fagioli was just shooting, the ball is bouncing back to him, he's shooting, the ball is bouncing back to him, and he slots it in at the near post. Of course, good goal over there by Fagioli, but Como just afforded them way too much space. Pretty much in the first half, Como dominated possession but had very few clear-cut chances. The Viola were comfortable in their low block, man. Early in the second half, Pongracic made a crucial intervention to deny Duvicas from close range, and in the 54th minute, Fiorentina made it 2. It was Perrone that fouled Mandragora in the box. Keane stepped up, and this penalty could have been goal of the week, because he stepped up. His stutter, unlike Fulkrug's, put Bute, who saved penalties midweek, showed us he's fully capable of saving penalties. One stutter by Moise Kean put him on his ass, and then he just fired it into the top corner. Amazing penalty by Moise Kean.
It was. He almost chipped it into the top corner, man.
Really interestingly hit, man. With the inside.
And then hilarious seeing him like do that little dance away, right?
He starts griddying. While he's griddying, Bute shoves a Fiorentina player to the ground. Mid-Kean griddy. It was crazy. Como increased the tempo. Rodriguez and other substitutes added energy. There were penalty appeals that were waved away. Vanoli was sent off during touchline protests. Then the 78th minute, Rodriguez crossed the ball in. Morata flicked it, and Parisi turned the ball into his own net quite spectacularly.
Yes.
A bullet into the top corner like crazy.
The only thing spectacular about him, other than that bloody dive, man, he is, I think, the most, like, we talk about, like, there's been a whole lot of talk about Bastoni this week. The real shameless one is Parisi. How he goes down holding his face for no reason, rolling on the floor, extending his arm.
Can I be honest to you? I'm going to speak to you as though we don't have audiences and like whatever. I don't like Parisi, man. I don't think Parisi is good. I don't think he's good. I'm going to be honest.
No,
he's like...
Parisi used to be an
great at Empoli.
He used to be an exciting talent.
Mm-hmm.
Has he lived up to it? I'm not sure. How old is he? I'm also not sure.
I don't think he's too young, dog. I think he's like 25.
No, definitely
26.
not. Parisi is, let's have a look.
If he's like 22, I
He's
take
25.
back what I said.
No, he needs to be a bit more...
He'll forever be one of those players that you're just waiting for him to step up. Of course, he doesn't have physicality to his side. I think he does well when you play him as a winger or as a wing back. I think he's better off there. But he's clumsy. He's always late. He's often out of position. I don't think it's crazy to say. I don't rate him too highly, Parisi. But in the final moments of the game, Como laid a siege with crosses and corners. Handball appeals against Mandragora are rejected, and Morata was sent off for 2 quick yellow cards. And Fabregas is like, you know what? This guy is supposed to be experienced. He can't keep being this hot-headed and getting these red cards and requesting to be substituted when he fights with Yeremina, etc. Basically, Fabregas is seeing what we're seeing, which is a very pissed off guy, man, Morata.
An emotionally
angry man.
Fragile player. We're talking about a player now who was brought in to lead this team. He's 33 years old.
Spain captain that won the Euros.
He's the captain of Spain. He won the Euros formerly at Juventus, Real Madrid, Chelsea. We're talking about
Milan.
We're talking about
4 months.
A player, a very decorated player with a lot of experience who just can't put is it his ego? Is it his...
No, he...
Why is he so easily triggered by these players? What's changed now in his career? Is he upset with where he is in his career?
Well, he had a divorce, honestly. He did have a divorce, which could have fucked him. And personal issues, he's spoken about his mental health before. But like, I don't know, man. It's quite clear that whatever he's doing to handle any anger issues isn't exactly working, because he enters the pitch and fights everyone. And if he fought people like at Milan, I thought he brought some good balls, the way that I felt like he fought defenders, bullied them a bit, inserted some authority, you know.
The way he started at Milan, he looked like he was on a mission. He wanted to prove something.
But now he's bitching out. Like.
I think maybe he's probably disappointed about it with his game time. That's probably how it all started, right?
Yes.
And now he's letting the Serie A bad boy defenders get to him.
Yes. Can I give you a bit of a breakdown of my notes on Fiorentina in this game? Because Fiorentina looked widely different in this game. So, deep block, right? Compact, and they were narrow defensively. They prioritized, of course, the defense over the offense. They let their players be a bit more free when it came to counterattacks. They did rely on counters and set-piece moments as well. I thought Mandragora and Fagioli did a great job when it comes to marking Paz and keeping Paz out of the game.
Yes, totally.
From the midfield possession. I thought that Fagioli in particular had really strong defensive work on Paz, and he had really good constant pressing in midfield, and of course the fact that he got a goal is great as well.
He was man-marking him.
He was man-marking him, yes. The way that Keane was used... Keane looked like he was completely out of the game. Why? Because this is how my Port Vale play. You have a quick physical striker when you're doing all that defending on the shoulder of the last man. Because the second you break, you want this guy to leg it and to get clean through on goal. So they used him as like this counter-attacking weapon and stay high while defending kind of thing.
Same with Harrison. Harrison was very advanced.
Harrison was very advanced as well. He did track back a little bit more, however. I thought Pongracic was very dominant over both Duvikas and Morata, and I really think we're starting to see the best of Pongracic, what we expected initially to see from him. I thought Ranieri coming back was a great addition. He's constantly, from a mental perspective, this guy is constantly motivating the players around him, making sure what do Fiorentina do? They fall asleep late on. This guy didn't fucking let them fall asleep for a second.
Yeah.
I thought Parisi, to be fair to him, was good offensively, but defensively, I thought that is where Como were exploiting Fiorentina a little bit. That's what I noticed. That's what I saw was very different in the way Fiorentina, they decided, look, we're in a relegation battle. Let's play like a fucking relegation team. Man.
Yeah,
And it worked.
And it made sense. And at the end of the day, I think the fact that Fiorentina wanted it more was the reason they won the game. Because, like we said, Fiorentina 2 goals were both mistakes by Como. They were both moments of lapses in concentration from the Como players.
Yes.
So absolutely, yes, I agree. Fiorentina really. The problem for Fiorentina right now is that Lecce keep winning whenever they win.
Right, and I was going to get to that as well. They get 3 points. Lecce beat Cagliari on a Monday night.
For me, Como, this is a red flag for me. I think this is something that Fabregas would need to address, because you can't be complacent because you play beautiful football.
Yes.
You haven't achieved anything.
Yes, and I saw a podcast with Fabregas. Shout out, man, to Kate of
Kate Abdo.
Kate Abdo. I think she has a different surname now because she married someone.
She needs a shout out.
She poor thing. I best shout her out. CBS's star. But she does great player interviews. She did a great one with McTominay. Now she did a great one with Micah Richards. And I just started one she did with Fabregas, where Fabregas basically said, I find football beautiful because I learned from Guardiola, I learned from him, I learned from Mourinho, and I'm a combination of everything that I've witnessed. Like, I play my way. If I don't play my way, I don't see the point because I don't enjoy it. But, cool way to make it all about you, though, because you need to play to your team's advantages, and if you're noticing that defensively your team is struggling, you need to put some extra emphasis there, right? So, neglected because of your brand of football.
He's a philosophy manager.
He'll go far. He'll go to the top, Fabregas. I have no doubt. In fact, in this game, he did make certain tweaks to try combat what was going on because of the close, compact block that Fiorentina opted for. He tried moving Baturina inside closer to Paz. He tried bringing in Rodriguez to stretch. There was also a factor being fatigue from the Coppa midweek, so they didn't manage to exercise that completely. But nonetheless, this was a rare flawed performance by Como. It
was. And I mean, complacent all round as well. I mean, you see Nico Paz, for example. I don't know if you caught it at the end, but he totally kicks a player off the ball and gets away with it.
Man,
that's
yes,
a red card.
careful, dog.
You have to be careful.
Careful.
Yeah. But whatever.
Yep. That's it from my end, unless there's something you want to add.
No, it's fine. I have the standings right here. Release if you want.
No, don't worry. Como are in 7th on 41 points, just 1 point behind Atalanta, who we said can get top 4, so enter conversation Como. Whereas Fiorentina still find themselves in a relegation battle in 18th place, 3 points behind Lecce, who are in 17th.
Seems like there's no way out for them.
Hey, man. Hey, Hotel California.
Literally. You can... What was the lyric?
You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave.
Torino. 1 Bologna 2. 2 teams who entered this game, in my opinion, in a bit of a crisis. And it was Castro who saved Italiano with a lovely clutch goal at the end. And Torino, of course, sink back into crisis, where they have grown very familiar. Massive result for Italiano, of course, who walked into this game with a lot of noise going on around his position, his job on the line, apparently.
Who's?
That's Italiano. I mean, it makes sense in reality when you think of how Bologna have been performing in the last few seasons, right? But a little bit harsh. But yes, Torino were missing Ismaili, Ilic, Obrador, and Sava, while Bologna were missing Glico Johannes and Hegem and Obega to suspension, of course. It was Paleari in goal for Torino with Marianucci, Maripan and Coco at the back. Pedersen on the right, Abuklal on the left with Vlasic, Prati and Genaitis in the middle. Adams and Simeone starting together up front. As for Bologna, it was Skorupski in goal in their 4-2-3-1 formation with Miranda and João Mario as the fullbacks, Lukumi and Vitek as the centre-back partnership, Freuler and Moro as the double pivot with Rowe on the left, Bernardeschi on the right and Som operating behind Castro. Now, the Olimpico was nearly empty, of course, as Torino fans continued their boycott against Urbano Cairo. They were chanting for him to sell the club. They were calling him something that wasn't very nice as well during the chant. And it set the tone, of course, for this game. But Bologna arrived with their own pressure, of course, with one win in 12, four straight league defeats, and out of the Coppa Italia midweek. So Torino were sharper at the beginning, but Bologna were better in isolated moments. Bernardeschi forced Paleari into a tough save, Rowe curled inches wide, Simeone battled Lucumi constantly, and Torino had territory while Bologna had cleaner opportunities. The goal came in the 49th minute through a Vlasic own goal that was eventually changed to a Moro goal. It was Rowe who rolled the ball across the box. It took a deflection of Nikola Vlasic, or so they thought. It was actually Moro who got the touch, like a nice little back heel, to be honest. And he wrong-footed Paleari and put it into the back of the net.
Rowe rolled the ball gently into the box. Moro.
Nice addition.
Nice,
If you didn't hear
very
that,
good.
Nathan added, "You can suck a cock." Beautiful. We need to get you a mic, Nate.
It's
we need
true.
to get you a mic. Apparently, at one point, he said that's what she said. It was
That
perfectly
was
dropped.
great.
We
Yes.
need to get you a mic.
Yes, we do.
62nd minute, of course, Vlasic, who else equalized for Torino. Redemption. It was Zapata who held the ball up really
So well.
did some really good work. Before it was he who shot, I believe, but basically the ball stung Skorupski's gloves and fell into the path of Vlasic, who knocked in the rebound through a defender's legs, and the stadium briefly woke up. Very briefly, because then in the 70th minute there was a moment of quality that won the match. It was Castro who received the ball with his back towards goal. He spun Marianucci and they had a split second to shoot, and he used that split second perfectly, executing what looked like a snooker shot, finishing it off into the far corner, fresh off signing his new contract, and he celebrated like a man who was freed from a curse. He went to take off, he fell, he rolled, and then he got up and he composed himself and stood there flexing his aura.
Yeah.
Torino threw up bodies, but they couldn't get anything out of the push, bro. Castra, finally.
Castro, yeah, and I said earlier that very early on in the season that I thought this was going to be Castro's breakout season, because I thought that last season for a 19-year-old he scored big goals in intense moments, and he's well beyond his years. The way that he plays, how mature he is, the grinta that he has. I'm a huge admirer of Castro. This was a well-needed goal for him. I don't quite think it's his breakout season yet. I think he's left it a bit late. I think even if he were to score one goal every 2 games, it will barely be his breakout season. But he got the all-important goal over here, not just for the 3 points, but I think Bologna needed a victory so badly. A draw to Torino would have raised further doubts about Italiano, so Castro kind of saved his job in that sense. Hugely important goal for him and for the team.
Massive. Of course, I would say Castro's breakout season was last year, though, because
So-
he had 8 goals and 4 assists.
Yes,
in the league,
but
to be
is
fair,
that-
at 20 years old?
But it's not a breakout, as in yes, because of the way he plays off the ball, how important he is with his press, with his link-up play,
For me,
etc.
breakout season is when people know your name.
Okay, no, for me it's 15 goals. You know what I mean?
Okay. You mean like a prolific season? then?
Yes, I
Okay,
thought it'd
okay,
have a
okay,
more
okay.
prolific season
Okay,
this
fair,
season.
fair,
To be
fair,
fair.
Okay, fair enough. So Bologna have this interesting thing, man, where people don't really realize that most of these players are either very young or very new. Like, this attacking situation is all young or new. Castro, 21 years old. Jonathan Rowe, new and 22 years old. Som, new, has just arrived, 24 years old.
Yeah.
And then you have Bernardeschi on the right side, who's probably been one of their best players, who is also new. And he has been starting over Orsolini, who hasn't quite looked himself lately.
Yeah, and that's of course very controversial. The whole Orsolini thing. He featured, I think, for 10 minutes in this game.
Yeah.
Barely featured
Literally.
at the end. And I think when you have a player like Orsolini, no matter what,
Yeah.
stick him in because he's also a player of moments.
He is.
You telling me the same guy that was scoring every single fucking game earlier this season, you know?
Yeah.
He had, of course, there was midweek, he missed a penalty midweek as well. So maybe there's a bit of resting going on over there and a bit of rotation with Som starting. I believe that Linga started midweek as well, so some rotation.
No team has conceded more than Torino in Serie A.
Not surprised. Look at
44
who's
goals
their
conceded.
manager.
Yeah, fair enough.
Baroni.
It's Baroni, the man who loves to get trashed every now
Yes, yes.
and then. Do
Gang
you
banged.
think they should maybe change manager, man? Explore it at least.
Well, perhaps. I'm not one. So it's tricky. The reason I'm pausing so much was it's tricky because what the fuck is Torino's ambition? What is their ambition?
Exactly.
They're a team that always finishes between 11th and 10th. Last season, they brought in a manager, Vanoli, who got them exactly that. They got rid of him, brought in someone else, and they're in like 16th, or wherever the fuck they are, 15th, 16th.
They're in now 14th.
They're in 14th. They're gonna be in a relegation scrap. I don't care. They're gonna be relegation candidates. They already are pretty much.
They are. As there's a bit of distance.
Say
They're
the point discrepancy between 14th and 18th.
So we're talking 6 points. Yeah.
They're there.
They're there. Yes.
And
they are.
Now
And
when
they
they're
don't
in
win, man.
when they're in this situation, there seems like there are no signs that they'll sack Baroni. So it's confusing. What is their ambition? What are they going for? For the long term, we know what Baroni's capable of. He's a good manager.
Yeah.
So if they're not worried about relegation, keep him on. Keep him on till the end of the
fair
season. Try build around him. The problem is,
Cairo
how
is the
can you
problem.
build
Exactly.
with
You
someone
can't-
like Cairo?
You can't build. You will lose your best players every season. The players that are brought in will be either players on loan or obscure players who aren't exactly at a level to make you compete. You know, it's not a good situation. That's why the fans are furious and they want them out. It's hard to even blame anyone, right? When this is going on.
And
I mean, the
then-
difference though is that, like, you look at Lazio's situation. Lazio are in a similar crisis,
Yes.
but at least they have a fantastic manager.
Yes, completely. Why do people complain when they hear of the links of Red Bull taking over Torino, but then their stadium is 3/4 empty because of their current owner in Cairo?
That's the whole morality of it, though. People, Red Bull are a controversial body, what they do to sports in general and how they push themselves into sports. The whole RB Leipzig thing in Germany, everyone's
Is that controversial?
yeah.
Pardon my ignorance, I could
it
be
was
totally wrong.
controversial. I'm not an expert on the topic, but I know people were rubbed the wrong way, and the whole RB Leipzig thing was extremely controversial, and people were it was very divisive. Let's say that. Of course, they get an injection of cash, but you are making an artificial team, winning with money. But I guess that is every single takeover nowadays. Como is literally that. Como, by the way, hated in Italy.
Really? Because
course.
of the
They don't play
huge
any
financial
Italians.
takeover.
They
But
don't play in Italians. They're knocking down the vintage clubs that we're used to seeing, and they've replaced them. And they're playing this. It's all foreign. The football they play is foreign. The players you see are foreign. Everything. People don't like it, man.
sure.
Sure.
So, I think you do what is best for the club. Now,
Yeah.
if there are clubs accepting Saudi money and fucking Epstein Island money, then they can't accept Red Bull's money just because they're an energy fucking drink. You know what I mean?
I mean,
They also gave me an all-inclusive trip to Ibiza. So my opinion could be skewed.
neutralita. Yeah. To be honest, I would love to see Torino get a takeover because historically, Grande Torino.
They need.
Are meant to be one of the.
They need
forces
some
of
wings,
Italian
bro.
football. Exactly. Yikes. Yes, standings. We've already visited Torino's position in the standings. That's 14th with 27 points, while Bologna are in 8th with 33 points.
You have how many games left?
I've got Cagliari, Lecce, and then a 0-0.
Okay, same. I've got 2 games left. Udinese 1, Sassuolo 2. So Udinese's 2-match winning streak has come to an end with a disappointing... it came to an end last week with a disappointing loss to Lecce. They've now started a new streak, and it's a losing streak. They missed Zanoli, Davis, and Camara. Sassuolo were coming off a 5-0 home loss to Inter, home spanking rather, but are now 3 wins and 2 losses in their last 5. Not too bad. They missed Turati, Matic, Kande, Boloca, and Pieragnolo. The previous encounter between these two sides was another Sassuolo victory at home with the score of 3-1. 4-4-1-1 formation for Runjaich's men with Okoye in goal and a backline of Zemura, Christensen, Solé, and Bertola. Atta and Eklinkamp were the wide midfielders with Miller and Karlstrom in the middle, and Zaniolo and Bayo playing alongside each other with Zaniolo behind him, swapping around, a bit of fluidity over there. 4-3-3 for Grosso's men, Muric in goal, backline of Valukovic, Itzes, Muharemovic and Doig. Tortsvet, Lipani and Kone formed the midfield 3 with Berardi and Lauriante flanking Pinamonti. So in the 10th minute, it was Udinese who opened the scoring, and this was very impressive from Oumar Solé, who pressed insanely high, won the ball, dribbled inside, and scored the first goal of the game. It was all Solé. I thought he did
monster,
fantastic. I thought he did brilliantly.
Even his celebration, like move out of his way.
Yes.
Don't get crushed by this.
Exactly. Of course, teams are a bit apprehensive, the bigger teams, to sign Solé, who's a clear talent. Of course, there's significant apprehension because of an ongoing court case, I believe. 50.
I wonder if there's been an update on that.
Hey, can you find out?
First name Omar, right?
Yes, Omar Solé or Oumar Solé. Just so you guys know what kind of controversy it is. It involves an allegation made by a woman. 55th minute, there was a Sassuolo counter-attack, and a few intelligent substitutions were made here by Grosso, and it was Ulysses Garcia who joined from Marseille. He's a left back, 29 years old, who dragged the ball across the left-hand side, gave a low, accurate cross to Pinamonti, who arrived early into the box. He backheeled the ball spectacularly with great vision, great execution to Lauriante, who was expecting that Lauriante, and he finished cleanly into the bottom corner with a first touch strike. Fantastic goal of the week, in my opinion, of course. And then 2 minutes later, Sassuolo attacked again. It was another cross by Garcia. This time it was a looping cross, and Pinamonti headed home right after assisting to make it 2-1. I was in the shower when the first goal happened. I ran out of the shower, almost slipped and everything, to watch the first goal in the 55th minute. I'm like, amazing, what a goal. I went in, got back into the shower, I hear the commentators screaming again, and I went back out to watch the second goal. That's how I watched these 2 goals. Udinese pushed for an equalizer. There was a Bertola goal that was ruled out by VAR due to a handball. Some argue his hand was being lifted by the player next to him and was like in a natural position, but nah. And Inzola hit the ball on the counter as well. For Sassuolo, naturally, but Sassuolo held on for a 2-1 victory. This is the kind of in-game management you like to see from a manager like Grosso, man, bringing in wide players for the counter and attacking Udinese down the flanks, which is where they were significantly struggling, using 2 essentially central midfielders as wide midfielders.
Yes, and they have actually amassed a decent amount of depth. Right, the players they bring on aren't a joke. They're all competitive. They don't worsen their team when they make substitutions. Actually, they tend to improve it at times. Man, bringing on the likes of Woyo Koulibaly, who is at Parma, he's a devil on the right side. Inzola, I'm not his biggest fan,
but he offers something.
But he offers hold-up play. Fadera, very nice player as well, coming on. Volpato.
Garcia, who I mentioned, with a hockey assist and an assist.
Yeah. So yes, they have a team that can compete. The thing that infuriates me the most, though, is Udinese's inconsistency. I think Udinese have everything it takes to compete, actually, to seriously compete. Because their team is good. They lack nothing. They're very strong.
They have a good manager.
They have a good manager who's very good at reading the game. And they have many players who are technically able, and they have players as well who are good at finishing. Granted, I know they have a bit of a striker situation right now since Davis has been seriously injured. They're playing Bayo, in fact, now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But then they lose these games. What do you think is it? Is it complacency? Is it just not, I don't know, being surprised tactically maybe by the smaller teams?
I think now this isn't a reason, it's just an observation, but I noticed that they tend to go on winning streaks and losing streaks.
They're streaky.
They're very, very streaky. They'll do, I think I've said previously that they had 5 or 6 games in a row without a victory, and then they go on a 2-game winning streak, a draw, another win, a draw, a loss, a draw, a loss,
Literally,
a loss,
bro, I'm
and then
looking here,
2
it's-
victories.
they're
It's
traffic
all
lights.
it's
Yeah.
so streaky by Udinese, which is insanely frustrating because look at the games they won. Look how many games they won this season.
Bro, they've beaten so many big teams.
But-
We went through the list last week. and
It'd be scary if they didn't drop as many points as they did,
It's
because they'll fucking be battling for 7th spot, like.
straight up. I mean, they've beaten Roma and Napoli quite recently as well. Like, it's
Totally.
serious. Atalanta, they've beaten. Yeah,
But today was that day was Sassuolo's day.
Inter.
Sorry.
they've beaten Inter.
They've
as
beaten
well,
Inter,
probably
of
the biggest
course.
one,
I think match day 3 or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Pinamonti ended his 3-month goal drought, and his assist was fucking fantastic too as well. This is a player that he's also very streaky. Of course, he's the Sassuolo striker we're talking about. Never quite reached his heights. Good game by him. It's great to end a 3-month, a 3-month drought without scoring as the striker of Sassuolo, who are surprisingly doing well in Serie A, is embarrassing to say the least. But something like that back heel. Pinamonti's surrounded by good players, man. He has very good players around
Absolutely.
him. Lauriante, Berardi, Tortsvet, Kone, all these guys. If he can at least be an outlet that can link them up, drop in deep, do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. He showed us a bit of this in this game. That was impressive. And he had a good header as well.
He is racking up a few assists this season. It's quite an improvement in his game. And I think joining Sassuolo has actually helped him to become more of a team player. Last season at Genoa, he scored 10 goals. Which was a good milestone for him, but he only got 1 assist, so it goes to show. This season, for example, he's already racked up 3 assists, and he scored 5 goals. Granted, taken a bit of a dip, but a player who is showing new dynamics to his game.
Yes, and it's good to see, because he was one of the most selfish players I've seen on a football pitch when he was at Genoa and even when he was at Sassuolo the season before. I thought that Sassuolo, of course, their success came from the wide areas of the pitch, but I also thought that Eklinkamp and Atta really weren't able to shield the backline effectively or recycle possession under pressure as well. Of course, they took a wider role, which is partly why Sassuolo found so much success down the wings. That's it from my end, brother. When it comes to the standings, Sassuolo find themselves currently in... Wait for it. 10th place on 32 points. Level on points with 11th place Udinese on 32 points as well.
Yeah, exactly. About Solé, by the way, the investigation is still ongoing. Milan and Inter are still interested in him regardless of the investigation, and apparently are willing to go with some kind of loan with a clause just in case, So
Just in case the guy's a rapist, we'll have a clause in his contract.
Yes. Cagliari 0, Lecce 2. A lovely Monday night treat. I love these. I love sitting down here with a coffee, doing my prep, having the Monday night game on. And when it's something like Cagliari Lecce, I actually enjoy it so much more. It feels like a little snack. It feels like it's for me, not for the people, for me.
A snack.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
It was at the Unipol Domus, Matt and I's favorite stadium.
Totally.
Weird setup, it has to be said, by the Cagliari manager in Pisa, because he opted for what looked to me a bit like a 4-4-2, but here it's marked as a 5-4-1. It was Caprila in goal with Zappa and Idrissi as the fullbacks, Ze Pedro, Yerimina and Ober as the back three, with Palestra on the right, Esposito on the left, Adopo and Suleiman operating in the middle, with Pavoletti starting up front. Now,
I don't know why he went so defensive. It's an
he
incredibly
went
defensive setup.
for a cross-heavy setup.
Mm.
And I think what bit him in the ass, I'm not sure if he took this into consideration at all, was yesterday was extremely windy. Of course, we are based in Malta, which is quite close to Sardinia, and it was windy as shit here. It's still windy today. And
Orange weather warnings.
good luck crossing the ball to Pavoletti accurately when it's so windy.
Mm. It's also important to mention that Deola and Gaetano that were out.
Of course, Deola, Gaetano, Felici, Borelli, Foloruncio, and Bellotti.
Those others
all
have been out,
yeah,
I feel like, forever.
for ages, right? Camarda and Berisha were out for Lecce, and Banda was suspended, of course. Falcone was in goal for Lecce in their 4-3-3 formation, with Gallo and Vega as the fullbacks, Gabriel and Gaspar as the centre-back partnership, with Koulibaly, Ramadani and Gandelman in midfield, with Sotil on the left, Pierotti on the right, and Khedira up front. Now, Cagliari actually entered this match unbeaten at home for 220 minutes.
Jeez.
But Lecce were desperate, and they arrived playing with this desperation from the get-go. The first big chance fell to Sotil, who lifted a bouncing ball over the bar from inside the box. A bit of a shocking miss, to be honest with you. Moments later, Zappa responded with a replica of what Sotil did. They both fired over from right in front of the keeper. And then Lecce gradually settled in, using Pierotti's ball winning on the right to launch transitions. So Pierotti kind of has taken this role of a defensive winger, because he can't really offer too much going forward.
Mm-hmm.
So Pisacane kept Cagliari compact, forcing Lecce wide, but Di Francesco targeted those wide areas repeatedly with set-piece deliveries and far-post runs. Now, it was Gandelman who opened the scoring in the 64th minute. Sotil delivered a floated free kick from the right flank, and Gandelman rose at the edge of the 6-yard box, dunking a header in, his second goal in 2 games, and it was clearly a well-rehearsed routine. Some say that Gandelman is still in the air, man. He rose so high.
Gandelman has been a fucking beast since
he's been a monster.
Man.
I was going to take him on Fanta, but I opted against it. And then, of course, in the 76th minute, Cagliari really struggled to create. They didn't create much, obviously, because they got one cross from a corner onto Pavoletti, who missed the header, and they had that chance from close range through Zappa, who shanked it completely. So then there was another subtle free kick that created chaos. Gandelman missed the initial contact, Cagliari failed to clear, and Ramadani picked up the loose ball and shot from an awkward angle low to Caprile's near post, who was late to react. And he scored a well-deserved goal, because Ramadani is one of the hardest working players in the league, man, and he wears his heart on his sleeve, and I really think that Lecce are lucky to have a player like that who cares so much about the club.
No, his work ethic has always, it was never in question.
Never. Yes, I mean, Cagliari pushed on late. They brought on that young, exciting striker, Treppi, in the 79th to try. They also brought on Kılıçsoy a little earlier, but he struggled to get involved. Treppi had a shot from outside that went just wide. It looks really exciting, Treppi, but it was not enough, brother. It was not enough whatsoever. I think that Lecce showed this game that they are an organized team that can take advantage of a team that doesn't show up. Cagliari are normally that organized team that are real torn in the side, especially to play at home. But this game, bro, Cagliari, I didn't like the way they were set up, and Lecce took advantage of it.
No, and they let Lecce play. And if you saw Lecce's last 2-3 games, they've got a fire under their asses at the moment, Lecce.
Yeah.
They've been attacking. I believe they won a match recently as well. No, Lecce. I think they won their last game or the game before.
Lecce are on 2 wins in a row now. They beat Udinese last week.
Yeah, exactly. With that Banda free kick, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So I think Cagliari's setup really allowed Lecce to play their own game. Just on the note of Ramadani, of course, Ramadani, his work ethic, like I said, never in question. I do feel like when it comes to his passing, etc., he's not a clean footballer. No. You know what I mean? He's not a tidy footballer. You look over here, I mean, 63% accurate passes. long balls out of 7 passes, out of 7 attempts, he landed 1 of them, which is a 14% success rate, you know what I mean? But he gets in the positions, he got an important goal over here. Defensively, he makes a lot of contributions, a lot of interceptions. Like he had 8 out of 11 ground duels won and 2 out of 3 aerial duels won over here.
Yeah. Yeah, the former Partizani and Aberdeen man. Huh? Yeah. Represents Albania but born in Germany.
Okay.
Has also played with Kosovo's under-19s. Mr. Worldwide.
Mr. Worldwide, step in the room.
Yeah. Bro, that was it. To be honest, I was disappointed that Cagliari didn't show up. Lecce played a really nice game of football, very organized. I really like what Khedira's doing up front. Sotil creates a lot of chaos as well. Gaspar and Gabriel are resolute at the back, bro, while Gallo and Vega are tireless. Cagliari a little bit sloppy this game.
I'm proud of Lecce, and if I had to make a bet, but I'm not going to do it, I think that Lecce are gonna surprise us, and I think there's a new favourite for relegation. In Cremonese are back down there, huh?
They are.
I think they're level on points with. Am I wrong to say they're level on points with Lecce now?
So Lecce.
They are.
Yeah.
Lecce are in 17th on 24 points. Cremonese 16th on 24
So Cremonese
points.
dragged back into it because Fiorentina definitely won't stay on 21 at any point. Totally, bro. I thought that Caprile, of course, made a terrible mistake. But you know the most impressive thing, man, is that Lecce managed to score 2. Lecce are a team that doesn't score any goals whatsoever. Like they have scored this season a mere 17 goals, the fewest in the league.
My goodness.
Now teams have gone up against Cagliari in Sardinia and not scored any goals since January the 2nd. In fact, bro.
My God.
Yes, we're talking like Juve went there and didn't score. Milan went there and didn't score, you know.
Interesting. Very good.
Yes. But they currently Cagliari stand in 13th with 28 points, while Lecce are in 17th with 24 points.
Fantastic. Another relegation 6-pointer over here. Parma 2, Hellas Verona 1. Great win for Parma. This game was also highly controversial. So Parma have their first winning streak of the season, much like Lecce. They're coming off a 1-0 away victory against Bologna, and here, of course, a home victory over Verona. They were missing Suzuki, Friggin, Almqvist, and Dai, and Troilo. Verona still winless in 2026, coming off a 0-0 draw to Pisa. Names Gagliardini, Suslov, Lirola, Valentini, Lovric, and Bernadette. The previous encounter between these two sides was another Parma victory with the score of 2-1 away from home. For Parma, Corvi was in goal in a 3-5-2 formation. Valenti, Circati and Del Prato at the back. Valerio on the left, Bridgely on the right. Midfield 3 of Bernabe, Keita and Sorensen with Strefezza and Pellegrino up front together. It was really nice to see Strefezza. Hadn't seen him in a while.
Right, because he was playing in Greece.
3-5-2 formation also for Hellas Verona. Montepo on goal, backline of Bella, Kochap, Nelson and Edmondson. Belgali on the right, Bradaric on the left, and a midfield three of Niasse, Al-Musrati and Harroui, with Bowie and Gift Orban up front together, but not for long. The scoring was opened by Parma in the 3rd minute. It was Keita that intercepted a sloppy Verona back pass and fed Bernabe, who smashed a half volley from 20 meters into the back of the net. What a fantastic goal. Any other week that could have been our goal of the week.
Right.
Just 9 minutes later, Verona were reduced to 10 men. Orban had an angry reaction to, I believe it was Circati, who was on his ass pulling at him, and then he touched his hair and pulled at him a little bit, and Orban turned around and yelled something to the referee. Zero hesitation whatsoever in the 12th minute because of something Orban said. The referee decided to give him a straight red card.
So harsh.
No idea what he said. Could have said, I'm going to kill you and do XYZ to your parents and your children. I heavily doubt he said something along those lines. There was allegations of blasphemy, that he said something blasphemous.
Blasphemous what?
Grow up, like,
Yeah.
grow up.
I mean, really, man, you're gonna fucking ruin a game because of blasphemy.
Blasphemy.
No,
Like,
like-
don't make your values the problem of the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, like there's a limit, of course, but there's also the prioritization of the game. Like it's so early on, and you have a player reacting to a situation, you know, where he was being pulled. He's angry. Let him be angry. Give him a warning. Don't
Or
fucking
book
send him off.
Or book him. Straight red
Yeah,
for...
straight red immediately. It
You
was,
know
it
what
was
you-
so harsh.
You know what you'd have to tell me for me to give you a straight red card, bro? I don't think there's anything in the world you could tell me for me to give you a straight red card. There's one thing you can tell me only. I won't say it on air. 41st
Curious,
minute,
huh? Let us know in the comments what you think it is.
Verona get a penalty nonetheless. This was the week of teams with a man down fighting till the end. 41st minute, Bowie beat Cercati in the box, took the ball down excellently. He looked like fucking prime Giroud over there the way he took the ball down. Cercati wrestled him to the ground. Harui stepped up and converted for his first goal since returning from his ACL injury. So halftime, it's 1-1. Parma slightly frustrated, but they were controlling the game. 71st minute, Strefezza nearly scored a right-footed curler that looped around Montepò and hit the crossbar. Ondrejka had an effort that was blocked by Montepò. Parma were really pressing. Late on in the game, in the last few minutes, Ondrejka had a volley blocked by Bellacoccia up on the line. Benaber's shot deflected past the near post. And then the 93rd minute, it was time finally for Parma's winner. And who other than Pellegrino to get them that winner. And let me tell you, man, whoever decided, we have Pellegrino, you know what? That Nicolucci Caviglia hasn't been playing for Fiorentina. Let's bring him in on a loan. He can ping balls to Pellegrino. Is a genius.
Yes.
Nicolucci Caviglia floats a ball over the top. Pellegrino, he jumped. Spent like 10 seconds in the air.
Yeah.
As soon as he started descending back down to the ground, he heads the ball. How does he get that much power behind it? It's crazy, bro.
It
He
is
has such
crazy.
a strong
It
neck.
is. He does have a strong neck. He must have been into death metal when he was younger. Or something.
Dead memories in my... I'm going to speed through these because I'm aware we're on the 2-hour mark. My number one talking point, but we already kind of went through it, is what the fuck did Gift Orban say to the referee? And what could you say to this referee to get... do you think you'd get sent off if you told the referee, oh, come on, man, what the hell? What do you think he'll give you if you said that to the referee?
Nothing. That's meant to be nothing.
What the fuck, ref? Are you blind?
That's maybe a yellow or a stern talking to.
That has to be a yellow.
It's a yellow. Yeah. Are you blind? Is a
Are you
yellow.
blind? Is a yellow by this ref.
You
for
are
sure.
incompetent and you always make mistakes.
Red.
That's because you make it personal.
Uh-huh.
That's why.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah, and there were talks about, not talks, there was a screenshot going on online that Orban posted, he tweeted out saying, I suffer in Serie A because I'm black, essentially. But Hellas Verona did write a statement saying that was not the official account of the player. So yeah, if you saw that somewhere, just take these things with a
news.
pinch of salt. It's as far as I'm concerned, it's fake news. Verona, for playing a full game with 10 men, they almost got away with it. I feel like San Marco keeps them really compact and competitive, and they could have gotten something out of this game, man.
They could have, man, and to be honest, it was good to see them scoring, even though it was a penalty, because they don't do that very often. In fact, they had gone 2 in a row without scoring, and before that, Orban scored against Roma play, and they didn't score before that against Cremonese as well. And I was looking forward to watching Hellas Verona with Bowie and seeing what they can do, and I feel like when you get a red card so early, it just changes the match beyond a point of like,
No,
you can't really see what's going on.
Yeah, Bowie barely touched the ball,
Yeah.
but when he saw him touch the ball, I think he showed us a
looks
little
decent,
glimpse.
uh-huh.
Like his control on winning that penalty was super.
Yeah, Belgali as well made a comeback, and he went off injured, I believe, right?
Yes. I don't have that in my notes,
yeah,
but
it's fine. It's fine.
Belgali-
He went off in the 20th minute. Yes,
Exactly.
for Akpaka, which is a shame because he came back and I picked him up on fantasy football. But anyway,
Yeah, whatever.
let's move on.
Parma, they've climbed into a decent position. They're now 8 points from relegation. but Verona, on the other hand, are dead last in 20th on 15 points. Look, I don't think there's much to say about Verona at this stage in this game because they played 80 minutes with 10 men. I thought defensively they were very good. And then it took a Caviglia cross and a Pellegrino thumping header to get the equaliser late on. Good resilience by Parma, who climb to 12th, man. 7 victories and 8 draws now with 10 losses for Parma, really turning their season around. They're on 29 points.
Haram ball, man. Haram ball.
Yes, baby.
Into my veins. Cremonese 0, Genoa 0 at the Zini, of course. Both teams came in level on 23 points and they both walked away exactly where they started, locked in, of course, on their only objective, which is to survive. Cremonese, who had scored just once in 5 games, finally looked a little bit alive offensively, bro, but it was not enough. Cremonese were missing Colo Colo, Bondo, Ceccarini and Fay. Big one when you're missing Faye. And
I'm missing Faye so much.
And Segrist, of course, was missing for Genoa. Now, as for the lineups, we had Audero in goal for Cremonese in their 3-4-3 formation with Terracciano, Baschirotto and Luperto at the back, Zerbin on the right, Petzella on the left with Torsby, Male and Paero in the middle with Juric and Vardy starting together up front. Now that's a fun front too. You've got Juric, the Tower, and Vardy, the Fox. Genoa, of course, had Bilo in goal, who would put in a man-of-the-match performance. Vasquez, Ostigard, and Marcandelli at the back in their 3-4-2-1 formation, with Ellertson on the left, Norton Coffey on the right, with Malinovsky and Frendrup as the double pivot, and Vitinha and Messias playing behind Colombo.
Vichin.
Rupert, how was that guy? How do you pronounce those names, bro?
Which one?
The Portuguese names. The Pep.
Pep.
Brunflange.
Ramsch. Gonçalo Ramsch. Who's Spanish, by the way.
So
Gonçalo Ramsch is
Gonçalo
Portuguese.
It only took 4 minutes for Petzella to get booked, and this set the tone for an entirely scrappy evening. Vardy nearly scored with a cheeky backheel flick, but Bilo read it. Messias forced a big save from Audero. Vitinha curled one. Audero tipped wide. There was a whole lot of chaos going on. Cremonese were really threatening aerially, of course, with Juric winning everything but heading often straight to Bilo. The Genoa's 3-4-2-1 created overloads in the right half space with Messias drifting inside, while Cremonese relied heavily on direct play into Juric to bypass Genoa's press. So in the second half, Genoa pushed even higher. Vitinha, Messias and Ekuban all had chances. Juric goes inches wide with a looping header from a Petzella cross. Was really involved with Juric. I love when they just make the main man. They're like, listen, we can't win games, we can't score goals. Let's buy a big guy and just cross them.
Ping it.
Yes. It was almost stolen by Bonazzoli, who had entered in the 93rd minute. His left foot smashed the crossbar, and that was the moment of the match. For a 0-0, this was really frantic, bro. It was chaotic. It was good fun, to be honest.
And I mean, just look at the XG of this 0-0. It's a 1.88 for Cremonese, a 1.34 for Genoa, and also, if I had to choose at this stage a team to watch every week out of how entertaining, scrappy, wear their heart on their sleeves team, it's Genoa. They've been so entertaining, so direct, so attacking, and they really take it to every single team. Cremonese, on the other hand, when they were going on their positive spell, they're very, very similar. You know, they were all about attacking in numbers, creating numerical advantages, big explosive players all around the pitch. So often these matchups do end up being, scrappy 0-0s in that sense. But I feel like
Genoa blessed with more technique, obviously.
Absolutely,
for sure. I feel like that chance by Bonazzoli at the end could be a bit of a season-defining moment for Cremonese, because that could have been massive for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited to see more of these teams, bro. We can conclude this one over here. they're both fun to watch, man. That's the thing about it. But the worrying thing about Cremonese is their crisis. They just have 1 goal in 6 games now. That's not good whatsoever. We'll see if they persist with Nicola, and we'll see what they do now that they've been dragged into this relegation fight again.
It's a tricky one because you have a fucking relegation specialist, but you had him from the start of the season. He's gotten you into a relegation scrap. Do you stick with him now? Because he's probably, let's be honest, he's probably going to get them out of it.
Probably, right?
I mean,
this time he has the talk, right?
He did it with Crotone, he did it with Salernitana.
He sits them all down, he's like, listen guys, I don't have much longer left. Like, what does he say?
Hey man, charmer anyway, for sure.
Look at this, yes. 15th, Genoa, 24 points. 16th, Cremonese, 24 points. Yes.
My God, the relegation again, guys. Between fucking 14th and 18th, there's bloody 6 points. So the relegation scrap is gonna be a real one. Okay, so that's it for the regular show. Look at Nate already whooping out exactly what's next.
He's a beast.
What a fucking beast. Well done, Nate. So let's jump to our patron section. Let's start off with the Fantasy League. Of course, this is a patron-only league, and whoever wins the league wins a free kit of their choice.
You're still in time to join, by the way. If you become a patron right now, we'll add you to the league, and you can practice. You can set up your team and use the rest of the season to just get used to the app, and then try to win it next season.
Even building the team is quite. It takes a bit of skill to do it because you can only have 3 players per team, and you only have 200 credits to spend, so you really have to mix around well. So it's good that you guys get used to it. I know some people are doing it. When it comes to who had the best week, it was me. I got 77 points. Me. I got 77 points. I'm doing really well, guys. I'm up to third place.
Who was your player of the week?
Marlon.
Bro, I have Marlon as well, but I also had Rabiot and Vanya, who both got me crap points.
Marlon, DiMarco. I had a Fagioli goal that came in clutch for me, man. Holy shit. Yeah, on my bench, McTominay didn't play. He was my first sub.
I've got to start playing Nicolosi, bro. I had him on the bench twice in a row now. Nicolosi.
Yeah, I think it's time. So the top performers this week was me, and then Catenaccio me Maxi being Alan 75.5 points, Jim City Life Kurt Sultana 74.5 points, Berardi Party Leo on 74 points. The Rune Service, 73, level with the Sarrinators, Leonardo, and Inter, that Gatti, Adam, 72.5 points. So well done for the great week, guys. Almost got me over there. When it comes to the standings at this point, as guys remember, there's only 14 games left over here. Catenaccio me Maxi is once again at first, once again overtaking Inter your mom. I am in third. I've climbed from 5th up to 3rd, or from 4th to 3rd. I'm definitely in the mix over here. 2 girls, 1 coupe in 4th. Remind me, 2 girls, 1 coupe. Please remind me.
2 girls, 1 coupe. It escapes me. I can't remember who.
That's fine.
But that's great. What a name, eh?
Hey. Giordano 67 on 1,750 points as well. Good to see Cesco in 6th as well. US Salernitana, one of my favorite names. Speaking of, I'm just going to go through these because the names are great. So we have 2 girls, 1 coupe. Giordano 67, lame Giordano. Salernitana, SSC Drees Nuts, Ardon's Hardon, Loco Choco Saul Coco, Grock Gilmore. This Corto was good. Dictor Boner Face. But Daddy, I love Skamaka, of course. These are the top 15.
Even Keenan Stop Won't Stop is a nice little play on words.
Yeah. Yep. Brilliant, guys. Well done. So that is the Fantasy League. Shall we jump straight to our prediction series before we listen to Daniel? Yes. So
God knows what Daniel's going to say. I haven't had time to hear it.
We always listen to it live on air anyway.
But I always give it a cheeky little listen.
Oh, you dickhead. So it's 6-4. It's 6-4 right now to Jake. By the way, next year I want to do this differently. I think that if you win this week, you get 5 predictions, I get 4. I think it should go Jake 5, Matt 4. And then if you get... Because then if you get 3 correct and I get 7 correct, you know...
I guess
we'll
who gets
the most predictions right? Yes, next season.
Sure.
Sassuolo Verona. You start.
I start.
Yes, I decided.
Sassuolo Verona. Let's go with Sassuolo. I mean, Gift Orban is suspended, no? Yeah, Sassuolo.
I agree. I'm gonna go Sassuolo. Next up, Juve Como. Of course, Juve will be missing Pierre Kalulu, I think, unless something is done about that. Como will be playing midweek against Milan on a Thursday. That's gonna impact them. I think. Are they gonna lose 2 in a row if they lose to Milan? Juve win.
Juve win. I go draw here. Draw.
Lecce Inter.
Inter.
Cagliari Lazio. I think Lazio get it done over here. Lazio win.
Draw.
Genoa Torino.
Genoa, man.
I'm gonna go draw. Ooh! Atalanta Napoli. Draw.
Atalanta.
Ratatari. Milan Parma.
Milan.
Roma Cremonese.
Roma.
Fiorentina Pisa. A derby. Was a draw last time round. Fiorentina 2 wins in a row.
Yeah, same. Fiorentina.
Bologna Udinese.
Is an option? Bologna Udinese. Lord knows like what's gonna happen.
Lord graciously hear us.
Lord graciously.
Red card.
Draw.
I was gonna go draw, but now you said draw. Bologna. All right.
Sick.
Amazing. Guys, we're now gonna hand this episode over to Daniel, my arch nemesis on the group chat. Very annoying guy. Supports a team that cheats. Take it away, Daniel. Yeah, Dan.
Nice setup.
Hi guys, and welcome to
Go on,
Inter
Terry.
HQ UK.
Nice, it's coming out of the headphones.
It's coming out of the
I'll
headphones.
try and keep things as brief as possible. Obviously, the
leave the
Derby
sentence
dell'Italia
Yeah.
did not disappoint as always. So there's quite a lot
Nice
to
beard.
discuss. I could probably
He's a fellow
spend
boy,
about
I think,
5
right?
hours,
Yes,
but
he would be.
I'll do my best.
I don't
to
know.
keep
I
it
don't know. It could be
as,
shaved.
as quick as I can.
He
So,
said he's.
Let's
okay.
start.
He's mentioned
start with the
comment. Bold is
controversy,
beautiful. He said. So I said,
and
Hell
just
yes.
put it out there straight away that without question,
Okay.
Bastoni dived. That's coming from an Inter fan. Kalulu did not deserve a red card in the slightest. And Bastoni was actually a very lucky man not to get a second yellow himself for simulation and get sent off himself. He took a risk, I guess, knowing the rules and knowing that it couldn't go to review on a second yellow card. So, from his point of view, the risk paid off. Now, as an Inter fan, that actually, watching the game, I was trying to be as balanced as possible, and it's not good. But that wasn't actually the part that upset me the most. The things I didn't like was the fist pumping to celebrate Kalulu getting sent off. I think that was a little uncalled for. And the other thing I don't like, which I'm sure there was an attempt to cut this out a few years ago, and I don't know why it stopped, is this, the asking for a yellow card. Personally, if I was a referee, the second a player did that, I'd just go, oh, you want the card, do you? Well, fine, there's the yellow card.
yes.
So that's something that probably does need looking at. So as I say, I was trying to be as gracious as possible in victory, even into Juve. And then comes the aftermath and the backlash. And quite frankly, it just reminds you, as an Inter fan, why you fucking hate Juventus so much. The short-term memory loss and hypocrisy is absolutely unbelievable. I mean, you've got Chiellini coming out saying we can't talk about football because we saw things that, were unbecoming of a Derby dell'Italia. Well, has Chiellini forgot his dive when he bumped into his own player and flew down on the ground claiming that Lukaku had hit him and got the decision? I mean, decisions have been going against Inter in the derby for quite some time. We could go all the way back to the Ronaldo penalty, the infamous one that caused fistfights in the Houses of Parliament in Italy. More recently, you've got the Cuadrado dive against Perisic. And anyone who's not familiar, if they think Saturday was a refereeing injustice, I suggest you go on YouTube and put in a little search for Pjanic versus Rafinha. Ironically, when Spalletti was managing Inter. Those two challenges are straight reds in any era of football. And between the two of them, they warranted one yellow card. And if you actually have a look at the position where the referee was when Pjanic did his flying elbow into Rafinha, he was stood right next to him. So, yes, we won, partly due to a refereeing decision. But quite frankly, it's about fucking time one went our way, and now Juventus, well, I'm sorry, you know how other teams feel when they've been cheated out of decisions themselves over the years, which has happened, I'd say, a lot more in your favour than against. So, to talk about the actual game itself for a moment, it's brilliant that Inter have finally got the monkey off the back. They've beaten Juventus, so they've beaten one of the big three. The goalposts have been changed slightly. I'm not saying our record's been brilliant this year in big games, but now that we've beaten Juventus, maybe we can count Dortmund away as a big win. We can count beating Atalanta as a big win, Roma in the Stadio Olimpico as a big win, and it puts us again in a very good position. So to say it was pleasing is something of an understatement. Touching on the players, I mean, ironically, this was probably the worst performance, aside from the Napoli away fixture, that Inter had in all the big games this season. The only quick shout-outs I'd give was Di Marco, who at this point's a cheat code, Zielinski, another fantastic performance and another screamer, Pio coming on with his bullet header, believe the hype, the kid's a beast. And I think Diouf caused a lot of problems when he came on as well. Very direct, created 3 chances, including being involved in the goal. And maybe a little shout out to Sommer, who wasn't fantastic. And again, I'd still like a goalkeeper to save Locatelli's strike, but by his standards this season, that was his best game. And at least he saved some shots. Ones that maybe you'd expect him to save, but he at least registered a few saves. If he can carry that on for the rest of the season, I'll be happy enough with that. One little thing that I did notice, Mkhitaryan didn't come on, Acerbi didn't come on. Obviously there was some old-timers, but a lot of the players that did have an influence, Sucic, Diouf, Pio, Zielinski, who was tragically underused last season. These are all players that haven't been tarnished and mentally battered by the Derby dell'Italia over the years, and I think that was probably a conscious decision from Kivu to start some players and use some players who didn't have the history, and it wasn't playing on their minds quite so much. I could be wrong, but I think that was probably something Kivu did on purpose. So I'll leave it there because I know you don't want me going on too long. So it's a great win. It puts us nicely top of the league, still in the Champions League, semi-finals of the Coppa Italia, shaping up to be a very good season, and it's always sweet to get one over on Juve. Forza Inter, and I'll speak to you soon, guys.
What a legend. What a legend.
So well spoken, eh?
Yeah.
Really good points across
And
the
look
board
at his
as
kit
well.
collection. That's DiMarco on the right.
Acerbi,
And
DiMarco,
Recoba.
Materazzi, and that'd be Recoba.
Yeah,
That's
brilliant.
not Acerbi, it's Recoba.
Recoba,
Sorry,
yeah, because it's backwards, it's inverted. That's absolutely
dyslexia.
amazing. This celebration of Bastoni rubbed so many people the wrong way, man.
It did because that shows the. So it's the two things. It's the of course it's the dive itself, the pleading for the yellow card and the celebration. That's like the holy trinity of unsportsmanlike conduct.
Yeah.
So of course it's gonna rub people the wrong way. But I like Daniel's approach in the sense that I would likely be celebrating that if it was my player.
Yeah.
I'd likely be celebrating. Oh, we've got. I hate to face them, love to have them,
Yeah.
kind of thing. But it seems that even Inter fans, they've been very honest about it. The behavior is unacceptable. Would have loved to win under other circumstances.
Yeah, I just view it as in football, man, and in life in general, you have heroes and you have villains. And if you don't have heroes, you can't have villains. And if you don't have villains, you can't have heroes. So if everyone behaved perfectly fine, football would actually be quite bland.
Yep.
So because you have Bastoni, who's obviously, let's also be a little bit empathetic over here and remember that this guy is fueled with adrenaline.
Totally.
He's fucking living the moment. He's just it's a must-win game for them because of all the criticism and how the Italian media is. They don't win these big games, blah blah blah. And he's just decided the game through a cunning move, and of course he's going to celebrate it. I mean,
Dan
he
made an extremely good point that they beat Roma, they beat Atalanta, and suddenly we're not considering these teams as big teams.
He also mentioned how he's been handling this, trying to handle this victory graciously. Might I remind you, Daniel, that of the voice note you sent once Zielinski scored the winner. Let me try to remember what he said. Yes, it went.
I was surprised to see him this. Like, I spent the whole episode calling him annoying. I think he comes up and just delivers the most level-headed analysis as an Inter fan I've heard yet.
Yes,
So
and I love that he
Daniel.
mentioned Diouf and Sommer because we didn't praise them, and what a fantastic point, not bringing on Acerbi and Mkhitaryan, because at the end of the day, this for Inter is a transitional year. They are getting rid of the old guard and introducing new players like Sucic. Bissek is getting a more
youth,
role.
which they needed.
Pio Esposito.
Bonnie.
And somehow they are fighting for the league while doing so, while balancing a transitional season. So that's pretty amazing, man.
Yeah, great breakdown. What a week of football. Guys, as always, we'll be back same time next week. I believe there's an international break at some point. We'll try fit something in over there. Love you all. Take care and become a patron. Ciao, ciao.
If you like Serie A or have ever liked it in the past, it's a good opportunity for you to listen once a week and you'll get filled in.
In the football weekend, that's like the main dish. But then a few days later, you drop your episode and that's like the dessert. And the dessert is just perfect.
It's good, the cake.
It makes it feel like we're all sitting in a room together, just BSing with each other.
The atmosphere is fantastic.
I promise nobody will ask you to send boob pics.
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
I love how you go into so much detail and show so much passion towards each and every team. Literally, no team is left undiscussed.
When I listen to you, it's like I'm talking to you in a pub. It's like I'm chatting to a friend and you're chatting to me.